TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I don't have a lot to say other than this is horrible. I mean, look, I don't know if I was even going to come on tonight at all, but, some folks wrote me my opinion. I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you, as sick as this might sound, as bad as this might sound, there are liberals that are rejoicing about this. There are liberals that are happy this guy ended up meeting his fate. I don't subscribe to that theory. I don't believe anybody should lose their life, but I am going to say live by the sword, die by the sword is actually accurate. Karma, what goes around comes around, all of the phrases, all of the cliches you've probably heard. I mean, I don't know how many of you folks, and I'll probably end up mentioning this more than once on this live, but especially for my African American audience, many of you remember a guy named Kevin Samuels. He was very similar to that. I forgot the name of the guy, because there's a guy there's another guy that Trump and the Joe Rogan's favorite that also was doing the same thing. That said a lot of sexist things about women and things like that. And Kevin Samuels passed away of a heart attack. He was known for saying inflammatory shit. People celebrated and actually was in favor of him losing his life. I don't believe it's a good thing to be favorable to anyone losing their life. I think it's horrible to take pleasure in. Let me make sure I get my screens on Wi-Fi. Give me a second here. I think it's wrong to find. I think it's wrong to find any sort of pleasure in somebody passing away. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm thinking that this is a good day at all. I mean, you see what's on my monitor behind me. This is an awful tragedy. Even more so that people can go online and literally see this guy pass away. I mean, you literally can see the moment of impact. The amount of blood loss was so insane. Everybody pretty much pronounced him from the video. You didn't need to hear from Trump or from the medical professionals. It was pretty obvious if you've seen the video. By way of yes or no in the comments, how many folks have seen the video? Just type yes or no. How many of you folks have seen the actual video of the moment of impact? I'll be curious to know how many of you actually have seen that. Because if you've seen that, I don't think there's anybody that saw that and was thinking like, maybe it ain't that bad. Or to me, it's very similar to President Kennedy. If you've seen what happened to him in Dallas, Texas back in the late 1960s, if you've seen that video, you would know this guy has little to no chance of surviving. It's very similar to that. And I'm not putting, obviously, Charlie Kirk in the same category politically or anything else in terms of value to the country as President Kennedy. But I'm just simply saying from a standpoint of the injury, it was obvious. And I see some of you guys did not see the video, huh? Joe Bird, I see some people probably don't want to see the video because it is as gruesome as it can get. I have not seen, and I watch some stuff. I actually do tune into some dark web shit occasionally. Other than, somebody, beheading or whatever. I mean, for somebody to lose that much blood from me, I haven't seen many of those. I mean, I've seen plenty of stabbings and things like that. He lost a lot of blood fast. I mean, from the moment of impact to 1 second expiring, he probably had lost a couple pints. I mean, he was like, I've seen deer take hits. You hit a deer in the heart and lungs, and the thing goes out the other side of the deer, and it's literally pouring. It was like that. It was like that. So there's also another, and I don't want to get too deep into gruesome details, but there's a guy from the 1980s. I think his video was on YouTube somewhere where he was a politician, and he was facing corruption. He had got caught for being corrupt, and he went on television and had a manila envelope pulled after, I forgot what he said in the speech, but after what he said, he had a manila envelope. He pulled out a revolver and right under his neck, he really poured out. It was like that. It was very similar to that. So I think most people realize that he wasn't going to make it, but I don't like the fact that people are actually online celebrating his death. And I'll tell you why I think that's happening. I'll go ahead and start tackling some of your comments as well, because I don't have a lot to say on this other than it is outright horrible. Hey, Tim, I'm a black independent, but I lean left. It's unfortunate what happened to Kirk. I don't think he was a great guy, but he didn't deserve this at all. I can honor that, and I don't. And thank you, Matt Sage. Appreciate that. I feel the same way. I wasn't. Now I watch a lot of right wing media. Your Ben Shapiro's, your Candace Owens. I do watch Officer Tatum, and some of the. I never really watched Kirk that much, but he's on the FYP and the For You page, so it's hard to miss his debates because folks like seeing him literally walk the shit out of liberals. Get those college kids, and they don't know what they're talking about, and a lot of folks really enjoyed that. But understandably, he has some very notable quotes. I think he once said something to the notion of it would be worth the gun deaths to maintain my Second Amendment rights. So in other words, if as long as I can maintain my Second Amendment rights, I'm willing to accept people losing their life to gun violence. Oddly enough, that's how he has now went. But I believe that's one of his statements as well, and I'm paraphrasing that. But he said a lot of things that were, that were unpopular on the left. That still doesn't mean he deserved anything near what happened to him today. I don't favor this. Now, before we get into the actual show and the comments, let me make it clear, just like always, the show is going to be MAGA friendly. And I know today is a day that MAGA's in mourning. President Trump's in mourning. I don't know if he's going to have his meeting tonight that he's supposed to have. But we're still going to remain MAGA friendly. We'll try to keep it respectable, but understand folks are passionate about their opinions. I'm still not going to censor people. And listen, while most of the folks on the right don't believe that there's any reason in hell for people to gloat or whatever over this, understand there are folks on the left that are going to be gleeful about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I'm not like that. I don't believe it's right for anybody to lose their lives this way. But understand, in addition to him making a whole lot of inflammatory statements, there is no shortage of people on the right that have celebrated either the assassination or the attempted assassination of many people that identify with the left. Whether it's Nancy Pelosi's husband, obviously almost all of the controversial police shootings or killings, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, what is the other guy? Trayvon Martin. The folks on the right made fun of all that stuff. I mean, up to and including George Zimmerman selling packs of Skittles for Trayvon Martin. So I'm not defending what people are talking about and doing to Kirk, but I am explaining while it's happening. When I say live by the sword, die by the sword, or when I make phrases like what goes around comes around in karma, understand when you do this type of stuff to people are going to do it to you. I mean, it's just that. If you're, like, for instance, if you have lack of empathy, you don't give a damn about the suffering of others. Guess what's going to happen if, God forbid, you fall down on your luck? They're not going to care about you. So there is some of that in it. So we'll talk about it, and I'm certainly sure I'll hear it from you folks. I don't condone violence, but sympathy to his family. Fair enough. And he had 2 young children. He was only 31. He 1993, I think, so he might have been older than 31. Is my math right? 8 plus 5, yeah, 33, something like that. He was a young man. Judenberg Lynn says, hate breeds hate. I could not agree with that more. This cycle needs to stop. Now, can I get an amen from the adults in the room? Well, you can certainly get an amen from me, a Junebug Lynn, because hate does breed hate. If you say awful shit about people, if something happens to you, people are going to say awful things about you. That's just, people are not going to rally around and give you condolences when you had a life of saying bad things about people. So I will go to the comment section first, and then we'll go to the box. I do see Raymond said amen as well. Charlie never killed. No, he didn't. Neither did Trayvon Martin, though. That's the point I'm making. People claim George Floyd had a huge criminal history, so, I can understand why people. Well, Trayvon Martin was an innocent 17-year-old, and people actually took pleasure in what George Zimmerman did to him. And keep in mind, George Zimmerman later actually put on eBay not only the gun he used to kill Trayvon Martin, but a pack of Skittles with it. And the right kind of like that. The right did kind of like that stuff. So understand, this is what happens. It goes around and it comes around. Good job, handsome liberal. Thank you, Jim. This is a bad day for that, but I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. It's sad. It's a sad day. I don't favor what happened to this guy. Those 2 Democrats who were just I don't know what you mean by that. First I heard of Charlie today. Yeah, Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. Like I said, a lot of folks have seen the video. The site I saw it on, they have removed it because so many folks are like, "Won't you take this shit down here as a family?" Man, my God, it was graphic. Anyway, I'm going to go straight to the box because I don't have a lot to say on this other than it is horrible. It is indeed horrible. Gangsta Grandma, you gonna be respectful today, right? Gangsta Grandma.
Hell fucking to the no. Hallelujah. The devil is God. Hallelujah.
Really?
Hell yeah.
You're actually you're actually saying hallelujah to somebody losing their life in this graphic way?
Damn fucking right. And they knew how to do it. Hallelujah.
Why do you?
Hallelujah.
Okay, in my comments, somebody rightfully pointed out Charlie Kirk has never hurt anybody. Why would you be happy about this?
Hey, spirit, hey. What are you talking about? Oh, I would never trust a black pilot. I'll have to question him. He said that.
Wow.
Oh, black women are DEI hires. They're not even educated. Oh, well, now you want me to the trash guy take it out. And whoever did it is not caught. And whoever did it knew how to aim, pew, very well. Very well.
Yeah, it definitely seems like whoever done it knew how to handle a weapon, but I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to argue with you whether the guy has horrible quotes, but he got murdered, Gangsta Grandma.
Oh, well. They didn't give a damn when the kids got unalived in the school shootings. They didn't give a damn about nothing like that. Hell to the no. Now what? We got to give him sympathy? Oh, no.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it like this. Was it not wrong when the right did the stuff you're talking about? Did you not, school unalived? Did you not see that as wrong?
They didn't give a damn about the school pew-pewing. They didn't give a damn about that. They was like, well, it wasn't the gun.
I mean, I get all of that,
So now, a white teen, oh my God, man, that they love is gone. You know how ironic that is? How he said this? How ironic is this? Oh, well, we ought to be martyrs for the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment just took his ass out. Ain't got some shit.
Yeah, wait, hold on. I see the irony, but I don't understand why you're celebrating this.
I am celebrating it.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm not going to argue with you to the point where the guy got some really notable quotes out there, some things that were very unpopular. But does the words equate to a man deserving to lose his life?
Well, karma's real, huh? Karma comes back at you. You spirit hate's gonna come back at you. People ain't gonna. Let me tell you something. You want to kick the bear long enough. You want spirit hate long enough, and people's gonna come the fuck back. Now, I don't even know who the person is. I don't know if he was a left or a right. Because they haven't caught his ass.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
You do want him to be caught, right?
No. Hallelujah. We need to get a GoFundMe for whoever did that and get him a good attorney. I guarantee you, it was too damn good. That was too damn good of a shot. That was a shit.
How do you respond to folks who might suggest you're part of the damn problem as to why we have so much division?
How is it? He did the damn division. He did it.
What, you ever heard?
Now you want all of us.
You ever heard of when they go low, you go high?
Damn.
You ever heard of when they go low, you go high?
No, actually, hold on. He wasn't caught.
No, he's not caught.
He had him. No, he's not caught.
Yeah, the guy they arrested is not the actual assailant. So he's been let go already.
You see how mad these people are? You see how mad they are? Oh my God, it was a white teen man. Oh my God, I gotta have sympathy. No, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, let me interrupt you and say this right now. But while I'm talking to you folks, I do have Fox News on a big monitor, and the ticker clearly says Charlie Kirk dead. Officials searching for a suspected shooter. So they don't have anyone in custody.
Not that because I don't give a damn about a racist being unalived. I don't give a damn. He didn't like us. He disrespected the black pilots. He talked shit about black women. He said that the immigrants are trash. He said a whole lot of shit.
Yeah. And I
So
see.
you want us to give a damn about him?
Well.
Oh, well, he's got unaligned. Oh, well.
And I see in the comments, Carl Lover said, Seven Nine says, this is a sad day because as Americans, we are being divided. What about that, Gangster Grandma? We are being divided over this.
Hey, guess who's in office? And guess who divided us? The people voted for hatred. The people voted for racism. People voted for everything we was against, right? Now, one of them got unaligned. Hallelujah. Okay? And what? And what? You want me to say, oh, I feel bad?
I want you to offer condolences for a man that lost his damn life. How about that?
I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. How much do you? I'm not like you. I would never kiss the white man's ass. What he did to our community? No. And then you fuck off. How about that?
And I see in the
I'm not like you. I'm not gonna have a white cock in my mouth dripping out uncooked protein. You got me fucked up.
No.
I would never do that. I'm never gonna bend my knee and say, well, I feel bad after they degraded us, after what they just did in the Supreme Court, after everything. You got me fucked up.
This man said things this man may have said things that are not popular, but he was not a politician. He didn't pass any legislation.
I don't give a damn if he was a politician. I don't give a damn if he wasn't a politician. He spewed hate. He spewed hate.
People are actually giving you roses. I cannot believe it. The man didn't deserve what happened to him. Can you agree with that? They didn't. Apparently, enough folks. Because I saw people in the comments. Gangsta Grandma. People reported her, and she ended up being taken down. Y'all weak ass women raising punks. What does that mean? She is spewing hate right now. Actually, no reply. While I don't agree with celebrating the loss of anybody else, she's not preaching hate. She's not talking about a whole race or group of people of any type. She's not talking about whites. Well, she was a little bit. Okay, somewhat. But she's talking about this one guy. So I'll leave it at that. Kirk was a closet supremacist skirting around Mein Kampf. Wow. There's got to be a way we can do this without celebrating the loss of folks. It's got to be a way. Listen, I don't have a million arguments talking to the right, folks favoring the loss of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, as I pointed out, and even laughing at the attempted assassination of Nancy Pelosi's husband. Nancy Pelosi's husband didn't deserve what happened to him. You know, well, he's gay and all of this other bullshit. Obviously, now it's happening. You know, now the left is doing the same thing to Charlie Kirk, and the right can clearly now see how bad this is. I agree with the right. I just wish they had saw it when they were celebrating the losses of all those other lives as well. That's all I'm saying. Nobody's death, unless they've really, really done people wrong, should be celebrated. Nobody's death should be like that. I hate that it's goddamn. Hanson, please let me up because I was like, we'll make it happen. This is a sad, okay, I saw that already. By the way, tap the screen. It helps out the algorithm. The live is MAGA friendly. You know how we are, but we do allow everybody to speak. We're not going to change our stance on lack of censorship because of the day. Just like I wouldn't do it if some liberal got popped as well. I let everybody get on the program and say whatever the hell they want about the loss of George Floyd. Charlie Kirk does not get a pass. If you like uncensored free speech, it don't change today because somebody you favor lost or was lost. Because if all of a sudden it was Maxine Waters or somebody on the left, you wouldn't want me censoring it then. So you're either for free speech uncensored or you're not. That's why. Listen, if you want a program that's going to censor people, there are plenty of other places to go on this on social media. I appreciate you folks coming here with me all the time. Certainly my MAGA folks, I enjoy talking to you. But nevertheless, if you want to go somewhere that is going to have empathy and sympathize with what happened today, when you didn't expect that for somebody on the left, then this is not the program. I will let you say whatever the hell you wanted if this was a liberal that lost his life as well. We don't change because of who lost their life. It is what it is. I am against all murder, including abortion. Fair enough. They are already saying it was the left. Of course they're going to say it was the left. Anybody that tries to take out a prominent right-wing figure, and I'll go back to the box once you guys get me up to 10,000, tap the screen, get the lights on up. Once again, we believe in free speech. If you favor that, we go left with Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak. No one gets censored. That's how we run it. If you like that type of dialogue, in happier times, we do cover the regular topics. Subscribe to the program. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, give us a follow. If you're watching currently on, I believe we're on TikTok and Instagram. I think we're generally we're on more than one. But anyway, come on, you tell me which video he was on, laughing and mocking these people getting unalived. I don't know what you mean. God does step back and allow bad things to people. I pray to God have mercy on this nation and to fight our battle. Yeah. A lot of folks say that. He gives us free will. I'll give him as much attention they gave Melissa and Mark Harmon and their dog that were, yeah, that's a good point too, that not long ago, there were two politicians in the state of Minnesota, two representatives, whereas an assailant went to their home and took them out at their home and shot their spouses as well. The right gave that story about 10 minutes, and President Trump refused to even call the governor of that state to give him condolences, stating that the governor was incompetent or something like that. What does being competent at your job got to do with getting condolences? I don't care if it's a 5-year-old. You can't tell him I'm sorry for your loss. So this is what I'm talking about. I don't favor anybody celebrating or being gleeful that this guy lost his life, but understand the right has done that to a lot of people, and they should not have done that. Should not have done that. So now that this happened, what do you think's going to happen? Let me just make something clear. Because Rudolph Giuliani, former mayor of New York, and I'll go to the box. Are we at 10,000? Yeah, we'll go to the box after this. Rudolph Giuliani, last weekend, I think it was, got into a major car crash. Now, what do you think would have happened if he had passed away? What do you think would have happened? What do you think's going to happen when Trump passes away? When you get involved in controversial sayings and show lack of empathy for people, this is what happens. What do you think is going to happen when Trump finally passes away? You think people are celebrating and gleeful now? What do you think's going to happen? But when you get behind all the things he says and people are complaining and crying and you're taking them out of context and all that, what do you think's going to happen when he passes away? Let me go back to the box, and I see Gangsta Grandma says we will be dancing in the streets. Wow. Going back to the box, we'll go to the handsome, what does that say, conservative? Good evening, handsome, a man of my very own name. Good evening.
The handsome Leo was good.
Not much, nothing good today, man. Sad day.
No, you know what? I was actually, I go to UVU, Utah Valley University. I was there. And in fact, hold on. I want to show this real quick.
I can't put that shit up there, man.
No, it's not that.
What are you about to put it in the small box? I'm not even going to.
Well, hold up.
I can't put that shit up there.
Hold up. That's the tent that he was under.
Yeah.
That was basically me when I was there.
Hold on a second. As long as you don't put nothing wild up there. All right. That is the tent he was under.
That was there. That was basically the tent that he was under.
Right. Yeah, it is.
But anyways, no, what I'm going to say, and I'm going to call out anyone, left or right. I don't care if it was Trump, Obama, Bernie Sanders. I don't care who it is. We need, as Americans, we need to stop the hatred towards everyone. I don't care who it is. We need to mourn the lives that are lost, and we need to stop. And you know what? The fact that Gangster Granny was saying what she is saying, I'm going to use my free speech now and call her disgusting.
Mm. Let me ask you though, Leo, when you say we need to come together and stop doing, did we really vote for unity? Now you voted for Trump, obviously, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you foresee him as being a unifying president?
I didn't agree with everything he did.
That ain't what I asked you though. That's not what I'm asking you.
Oh, hold on. But and some things yes, and some things no.
Give me some examples of what you thought he was doing that would unify people.
Okay, so one thing that he did that was unifying. When the fact that when he was shot, or when he was, you know what I mean, he stood up and he kept fighting for the American people.
Okay,
that to me is unifying.
Okay, you said when he stood up and yelled, "Fight, fight, fight." You do realize right before that projectile hit his ear, he was preaching nothing but division at that rally, right? You do realize that.
I'm sorry?
You do realize right before that projectile struck the ear of President Trump, he was preaching nothing but division at that rally.
So, can you explain to me what he said that was division?
Well, everything from they stole the 2020 election to they're using the Department of Justice, Sleepy Joe, Nervous Nancy, all of that's coming out. In fact, I actually did a video on that. And if you look at the picture of right when he gets struck, right behind him, there's this lady with a big ass shirt on that says mean tweets. There was no unity going on there.
Okay, I mean that's the person's freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean someone deserves to get shot.
I didn't say he deserved any of that. What I asked you is, what has he done to preach you? What has he done to show he wanted everybody to unite? You're going to tell me, give me something else. He's been in office for 8 months. Give me something else he's done to unite people.
Yeah, his policies. No tax on tips, man. Let me tell you, if something that Vivek Ramaswamy said, if policies do not unite people, then what else will?
So you can say whatever as long as your policies are good for everybody. They should just ignore what you're saying?
Again, I didn't agree with everything he said.
Yeah, I don't think even the folks on the right see Trump as trying to unify the country. I think it's more of sticking it to the liberals. I don't know how you're getting that one.
My point is, you know what? One thing I wanted to say about Charlie Kirk, right?
Before you say that, someone asked a question. The MD20 says, "Hey, do you think Charlie Kirk will have a black pilot on his flight to the afterlife?" What do you think about that?
100%. If that's who God commanded it to be, then yes.
Okay, what were you about to say? I don't agree with that, but go ahead.
Okay, listen. He went around the world. He went around the country. And you know what? Everything that Gangster Granny said, I challenge you, Gangster Granny, to prove every single little thing that you said. Bring the facts. Bring the receipts.
Would it make a difference, though?
Hold on. No, hold on. Because you know what? Charlie Kirk went around campuses and gave a voice to people, gave an open mic, and it didn't matter if they agreed or not.
Okay, hold on one second. Trump released a statement about 20 minutes ago. I'm reading it on Fox News. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, which he has in caps, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. So now I agree with you with the importance of free speech, but I think you and I kind of disagree on whether this guy was saying things that were controversial or sometimes even hateful.
I got a cough for a second. But anyways, no, mira, yo te voy a decirte algo. You know what? I'm going to tell you something, okay? I don't care if it's Maxine Waters. Again, I don't care if it's Obama, Bernie Sanders. Everyone has a right to believe what they want to believe.
True.
Everyone.
I agree with that.
And one thing the reason why I came up here was because I wanted to shed some light. Thank you so much for the gifts. But I wanted to shed some light on his name in the sense where he went and gave people free speech, whatever way you look at it.
Okay.
He challenged your thought.
You went mute. I don't know what you did. You went out. Go ahead. Are you there?
I apologize. I got a phone call again. A lot of people asking me if I'm all right. But And,
Yeah. Why were you there? You were there. You were just to hear him speak, or?
Yeah, no, because I wanted to ask him a question. I was there because I wanted to debate a little bit with him.
Really, I'm curious. I'm dying to know what that question. You don't have to give it to him, but I'm dying to know what you wanted to ask him.
No, it actually had to do with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically all it was. My question is, well, we have a huge mental health crisis in this country. Well, if you know, how are ways that you could, or what are ways you think we could stop it? That was the question that I was going to ask.
Well, the first thing we have to be allocating funding and actually being concerned with mental health. I mean, they got rid of all the insane asylums and all of the federal funding in a lot of areas. So if you don't if you don't allocate any resources to it, you make it sound like you don't. You know, I'm talking about the right. They make it look like they don't even care about this, and they make it clear that they believe that mass unalivings have nothing to do with gun laws. They believe it is mental health. But then when you look at what they're doing to mental health, there's no way to argue that they don't seem to care about it. If you're going to tell me you believe children are losing their lives in school because of mental health, and then when I go to red states and red cities and counties, you're not doing anything additional to address mental health, how can you argue that you care about it? It looks like you really don't care about it.
No, listen, and I agree to that. We need to do, without getting rid of the Second Amendment, we need to go and we need to put a stop to this. Point blank, period.
Yeah.
There's other ways to do it.
Well, if you're making it clear you believe the problem is mental health while doing nothing, if not cutting funding, because the big beautiful bill had medical cuts in it, so they're actually cutting people's financial assets in programs that would help them get access to mental health. So they're complaining that mental health is why this is happening, but they're making it actually harder for some to get mental health. So it's hard to argue that it looks like you guys really don't care about this.
And again, I don't agree with everything that the right does. I'm not even a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I am a...
You actually went to see Charlie Kirk and you don't consider yourself conservative?
No, I'm an independent, but I like to. Look.
Your name is okay. Wait, who did you vote for in 2024? Who did you vote for?
In 2024, I voted for Trump.
2020, Trump versus Biden.
2020, I voted for Trump.
2016, Trump versus Hillary Clinton.
I didn't vote.
Okay. Have you voted for? Did you vote for Obama at all?
I did.
Okay. All right.
The very first election, I voted for him.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So you've kind of leaned right a little bit now than you did then. I'll leave it at that.
And you know what? Put it like this: if someone like Wes Moore were to get up and run, I'd vote for him.
Well, you don't know what you're going to find out about him. All of a sudden, once they run for president, people start telling you they drinking baby's blood and all kinds of crazy shit. So, because people always say nobody said Trump was a racist until he ran for president. So when when Obama was a senator, nobody was talking about Kenya. All of a sudden he runs for president and suddenly he's from some nation in Africa. So it depends on what comes out about Wes Moore once he runs.
So at that point, it's not going to be Trump. It's going to be someone else. And in fact, okay, for all those who actually think Trump is a racist, I would like to challenge you to think about this, okay? And these are to all my friends who believe differently, okay? Look at who he appointed as, in his cabinet, Marco Rubio, the very first Hispanic to ever do it. The very first. But you laugh at that, liberal.
That's kind of funny. Keep going. I'm not going to rain on the parade. Keep going.
But then, here's the thing. He appoints someone who is the very first Hispanic to do it, right?
Okay.
But then when Obama's the very first black president, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Well,
You cannot see one way without the other.
yeah, you actually can. And I'll tell you why I say that. If Trump appointed the first, let's say his first black vice president ever turned out to be Clarence Thomas, he's not going to get credit for that. You got people that are of one race that has done things that is notoriously bad for that race. I mean, you've had blacks that fought on behalf of the Confederates in the Civil War. Ain't nobody gonna give you credit for appointing one of them. I mean, so the fact that he appointed Marco Rubio, and now Marco Rubio has overseen some of the worst treatment towards Hispanics, the Hispanic community is not going to credit Marco Rubio with much love at this point. So, but I get what you're trying to say, but you know, there is a such thing as being called a traitor or something like that to your own community. And I don't think the Hispanic community is going to see Marco Rubio in high regards whatsoever from this point on.
41% of Hispanics voted for Trump.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is facts.
He did really good, yeah.
Yeah, with Hispanics. So
right.
My thing is, right, my whole family voted for Trump. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make us racist at all. Okay. We just believe a little bit differently than the left. And see, that is the thing. You know what? I personally wish we could go back to the days where we could just exchange ideas and not have to worry so much about certain things.
But you didn't vote for that, Leo. Trump is not doing what you're telling me. Let's go back to the day. Trump is a lot of the division. That's why I asked you earlier. Trump is doing a lot of that stuff you're talking about. And by the way, no, voting for Trump does not make you a racist. I'll agree with that. But just because he won the Hispanic vote, he overwhelmingly won the farmers' vote too. They're not happy. So there are plenty of people that voted for Trump that are likely not happy now. People thought he was going to get rid of a bunch of rapists and murderers, not old grandmas that were sitting around watching their kids. So people voted for him for reasons that he is now not doing or has strayed away from. Nobody expected Trump to tariff the world. So he's done all kinds of things that people who have supported him are not happy with him now.
Okay. And so then let me ask you this. Okay, have you heard the song? This is the last thing I want to say because I want to get other people into here as well. But one thing I do want to ask you, my friend, is have you heard this song by Black Eyed Peas? Darn it. Where's the Love?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've also heard a remix called Fuck Your Feelings. What you getting at?
What I'm saying, though, right, is that the original song explains about a lot and what's happening in this country. Okay,
well, you're not going to get that while people are waving signs that say fuck your feelings. I got to move it on. I will move it on to Handsome Leo. Thanks for coming through. All right,
have a good day.
You too. By the way, tap the screen. Get us on up to 25,000. I do appreciate that. Michael says, get the fuck out of here. Mike, be nice to the guest. Caller is a little slow. No, he was trying to get his thoughts together. Richard Crosby says, if you're not allocating funds for mental health, then you're just pissing in the wind when someone with mental health does something you don't like. That is 100%. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. What we normally would probably be talking about is this white Ukrainian refugee that lost her life on a commuter train. That guy's a mental health case too. I'm not saying he don't deserve to be incarcerated probably for the rest of his life and should never have been walking the street, but that dude is mentally ill. In fact, his mom is on record and saying she went and told them, my son is mentally ill. Now, in a red state like North Carolina, it probably was hard to get mental health treatment. So that is a problem, is that the right sees mental health and does nothing about it. That is a major problem. Getting rid of things like Obamacare and Universal Care Act and things like that is not good if you believe people are losing their lives to mentally ill people. She tried to get him help, says Facts Only. Yeah, thank you for your sub. Appreciate that, Facts. Let me go to the box. How about the Epstein files? How about you continue talking about that instead of distractions they want? Epstein, there are plenty of times that will come up, but today we're talking about a very sad tragedy that took place. So for the sake of today, we can skip over. If you want to ask a question about it, we can talk about it, but we're talking about what happened. Mike, good evening.
Hey, what's up, Tim?
Sad day, man. Sad day.
Sad day? Okay.
You don't agree?
Well, here's how I feel, and I've been in the comments going back and forth because you know what it is, Tim? I'm tired. I'm tired of the right projecting their shit and making it everybody's. Here's what I mean by that. This is what Charlie Kirk has been doing. This was the opening day of his tour, right?
Okay.
And he's going around with his ideology, and they're spewing this ideology, which is not for anyone but white folks. Let's be 100% clear on that.
I should have, since you said that, I should have asked my last caller who was there, were there any African Americans at that gathering?
Well, what I saw, there were none. Now, people will say in the comments that I'm racist, but here, just give me some room here today, because I'm irritated by 2 or 3 things, and probably not what a lot of people think. His ideology has been promoting division and racism and white supremacy. I am not wrong. That's what they've been pushing.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you right off the bat, what has he said for you to suggest he's promoting white supremacy? I know he's divisive. I'm not going to disagree with that. But what has he said that promotes white supremacy?
He espounds all the white supremacy talking points, 1350, black on black crime, Hispanics and deportation, all of the same talking points. He spews all that shit, Tim.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be candid and plead ignorance. I'm not a big viewer of Charlie Kirk. I watched Shapiro and Candace Owens and the Hodge twins and Officer Tatum. He's not a guy I really watch a lot of, so I don't know what he said.
Okay, and so I'm telling you. So, and listen, what I just said, all you got to do is Google Charlie Kirk and look at his YouTube videos. He says the things that I just said. He says those things. Why do you think Trump champions him? Why do you think the far right champions him? It's like people want to it's like they want to sever the very arteries that they connected. They connected. This man's 31 years old. Where do you think he came from with these views, Tim? Back in 2012, when Lindsey Graham said, our problem is we don't have enough angry young white men. They said that shit. I'm not making it up.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
Okay, so now they're going on tours. Do you know what he said minutes before that happened? They were talking about 2A. They were talking about 2A.
I mean, he was literally talking about it when he got hit. Yeah, I did hear that.
And he was saying, unfortunately, it's enough about us losing lives and the lives of children to pew violence. He said,
yeah. Right before, he said it like less than 2 seconds after that, before that round hit him. I mean, it's crazy that he went out saying that.
Well, here's the thing, Tim. Here's the thing. So what he's saying is, yeah, we're going to lose some, but we got to keep our 2A. So, it is what it is. Same shit we've been talking about pew violence in this country. There was another shooting today. On the timeline, did it?
I heard about it very mildly. Was it in Colorado?
It was in Colorado.
I heard about it so mildly.
So,
go ahead.
I'm not condoning the violence. I never condone the violence. But I do have a hard time listening to the right. These are the same motherfuckers that they didn't even want to drop the flags half-staff when we had 2 state officials that got unalived, or 3 unalived in Minnesota.
And that is an issue, and I mentioned that with my last guest, and I think even with Gangsta Grandma and them, is that as bad as I hate seeing folks celebrate the loss of this man, the right just simply don't make good complainers on this, because there is the Floyds, the Breonna Taylors, Nancy Pelosi's husband's attempted. I mean, they've done this so much on other folks that I don't like it being done on Charlie Kirk, but they don't really make good people to complain about it.
Yeah, they don't, and that's what irritates me. Peace and prayers out to Charlie Kirk and his family and his children. Well, guess what? His ideology, he lives by it so much. He had his wife and his children there. He lives by it so much. He had his wife and children there. Does that mean that he should have been unalived? No, it doesn't mean he should have been unalived. No. It does not mean that. But at the same time, the outrage of Charlie Kirk, he's not an elected official in any state. But the right couldn't show any compassion for those officials that were unalived in Minnesota. Now, could they, Tim?
No,
Not
and
even
I
our
don't.
own fucking
I'm
president
very
can do it.
curious. Now, Trump has released a statement, saying this was a good guy and things like that. That's fine. But I'm very curious if Trump comes out and releases some type of statement saying we need to all come together and squelch the political violence. I mean, we need to hear that from the top because if not, go ahead.
Tim, he's not going to say it. When has he said it? Tell me when one time with everything that's happened since he walked down that escalator, has he de-escalated anything? Matter of fact, I will say, since he walked down that escalator, and you can go and you can look at the facts, domestic tea groups have risen, hate crimes have risen against minorities, anti-Semitism, all those things have gone up since he came down.
Yeah, and I see somebody in the
That's a fact.
Yeah, and I see someone in the comments. I think it says Pretty says I'll be respectful and give Charlie Kirk as much sympathy as they gave Melissa and Mark Hortman and their dog that was assassinated while sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. That's where the problem is. I don't like that the left is doing this, but there's what can I say when the left starts pointing out how many times the right did it and say, why the hell are you going after us? I mean, I don't have an answer for that. The right has done this a lot. And so it ain't right for the left to do it, but damn, it makes little sense for the right to complain about it.
And listen, I am not saying, so I'm clear, because see, I'm the same when it comes to this, the whole violence thing on any party, political violence, any violence. I mean, it's just absurd. But somebody has to be an adult, and that's why you elect presidents with integrity, character, and moral structure that ours does not have, because he cannot stand. Where has he ever stood and said we need to come together? He didn't do it when we've lost children in these school pews. He didn't do it then. He hasn't done it either way. He elevates these far right wing mouthpieces, and he said he hates Democrats. He hates liberals. He wasn't able to do it on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Mother's Day, or Father's Day. When is he going to step up and be a president? He's not. He's going to use this to continue to push this shit forward, Tim. That's what he's going to do. Now, here's the thing. We don't know who the pew-pewer was, but here's what we do know. They don't give a fuck. They're going to spin it to be left,
it's going to be,
all of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. There are millions of people that are angry right now that are on the right. Let's be clear. There are veterans.
Well, with you saying something like that, will there be any backlash? Will there be some type of pseudo retaliation? And thank you for that sub. Whoever just dropped that JGS for real. Thank you. Will there be? Do you perceive that there might be any retaliation? Let's just go out and get somebody. We got to do this for Kirk. Do you see anything like that happening?
Yes, I do.
What if Trump offered a message of unity? Would that go a little bit to maybe preventing that?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why, Tim. I'm gonna tell you why. And I told you this months ago, and I keep telling you that he is so transactional. He's the prostitute in chief. He's got so many verticals happening. He can't control them all. He can't control Stephen Miller's reaction to this. He can't control Steve Bannon's act, and he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. If he wanted to, he would do something that showed the country that maybe there's a chance for us to be unified. He's done shit. And I've been saying it week after week after week, being on your platform and other platforms, and I'm being called racist and fear-mongering, and I've been preaching this shit from the beginning. And those that continue to support him and want to make excuses like they've been doing, this is the byproduct of that shit. See, this isn't the byproduct of the left. This isn't the byproduct of the left. This is the byproduct of the shit they've been putting out there.
And Black Bull 6 in the comments made an interesting statement. He says if someone did retaliate, would Trump pardon them? Jeez.
Probably.
No.
Tim, wait a minute. See, okay, so let me ask you this. You give me some
T-Mac, thanks for the sub. Thank you, sub.
Say no.
What? T-Mac, thanks for the sub. What'd you say?
I said, you tell me how you can just unequivocally say no.
That he would pardon somebody that took somebody's life in cold blood?
Tell me how you can. I'm gonna give you. You can't give me an example, but I can tell you what he's done with other white men that like Rittenhouse when you invite him to the White House, or you invite him to the game, or when Daniel Perry on the subway, or Penny when you invite him after he's unalived. He's shown every tendency, like I've been telling your ass since I met you. And now what's happening is it's playing out in real time. Nobody that's in the comments right now gave a fuck about them leather people that got unalived in that vote. They made up every excuse in the world to validate that shit last week, Jim.
Somebody,
on your show.
yeah, and I don't like that. And you are, I'm not going to say Trump would pardon somebody for doing that, but I don't like the fact when you pointed out Daniel Penny and Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't like the fact that he does take sides. I mean, particularly if there is a controversial event, maybe a killing or something. If there's a controversial event, certainly if it's racial, black and white, whatever the side the whites are on, he takes that side. I don't like that. He's not calling for unity. He's taking sides. I don't like.
Well, and again, Tim, I don't like it either, but it is, listen, we have to accept, if people really care about this country, and I really question that about a lot of people, handsome conservative in the comments, I really question whether they care about all Americans, because nothing that they say or do shows that in neither does Trump and his administration.
Yeah, and handsome conservative says, wait for the president's response to happen, to what happened. I hope it is severe. What do you mean by severe?
And again, severe to who? Severe to who?
That sounds like he's hoping for a call to retaliation, sounds like. Now, how about this one, though? Somebody, Antone Richardson on YouTube says, yeah, Nick Fuentes is hiding, I'm sure. Do you think there's any chance that that's likely real?
You know what, Tim? I don't know. All I know is like Nick has kind of pushed back over the last few weeks, and he said that the Dems are right and the left is right and all this shit that he espoused because he bought into it. That's the sad part, Tim. Here, I'm gonna tell you the true sad part. The sad part is Nick Fuentes lost his life because he was radicalized on some bullshit. He was radicalized to believe all of this bullshit. And so much that he's willing to have his children with him, his young children sit there with him and continue to espouse the 1350, the black on black.
Hold on one second. As I made it clear to you folks, I'm watching Fox News and behind all of these monitors here. The FBI director Patel, I guess that's Cash Patel, is saying right now that the suspected shooter is in custody. So they apparently, according to the FBI, they have gotten someone. So that's what's, if you got Fox News and you need to step away, I understand, but Fox News is now announcing, this is, I'm actually watching the Fox News channel, and that's what the ticker says. Charlie Kirk assassination, FBI Director Patel, suspected shooter in custody. And this is live, so I don't want to play it for copyright purposes, but apparently they do have
one. Now watch this, Tim. Now watch this. The handsome conservative is in the comments saying he means send in the troops. Where? Into Utah?
Well, but wait a minute, though. What he is saying has a precedent. Is that not why they sent in the troops to D.C.? Because Big Balls got beat up?
Yep, but do you think they're gonna send the National Guard into fucking Utah?
Are they not talking about sending the National Guard into North Carolina because of this Ukrainian immigrant? This is starting to become the method of operation, Mike.
I understand, but who was the suspect in North Carolina?
The guy on the train.
Okay. I know, but who was he? And I'm gonna tell you this, because it seems like whoever this person was skilled.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Right. So let's wait to see who that person is. But you know what? The people that believe if this person is melanated at all, it's gonna just completely turn the rhetoric up. The way he handled that rifle, it's probably more of a chance that he is melanated. I ain't seen nothing like that since the DC sniper. He probably is melanated. Whoever did that, they probably you can't go there.
He might even have a little bit of blue hair, because despite what they doing to the Hispanic community, rounding them up, one thing is starting to be clear. These transgender ain't playing around. They not fucking around. They not taking that stuff.
No, I'm not going there with you, Tim, because see, just the fact that you just said that leads into this narrative. But again, I've told you this before, and I'm going to say it again. Just because you say that You feeds into this narrative where you watch social media and they're putting up all of these posts that say the last 10 school shootings were all transgender, which is a lie. That's not true. But what happens is they say just one life matters. So now that life is Charlie Kirk, who's spewing their ideology. They are praying that this person is black or
he better not be a Utah conservative that's mad at the terrorists, is what you're saying.
And if he is, it'll say mental health issues because listen, they are not. Listen, Tim. The sad part is, like I said before, Charlie Kirk was 19 years old or 18 years old when Lindsey Graham said that. And ever since then, and Donald Trump came down the escalator, and ever since then, this has been their This has been their mission. To expose his ideology.
He's made a lot of money too, as well. I got to move it on, but he's also made a lot of money.
And I'm gonna say this last thing, and I'm gonna let you move it on. For those that think what I'm saying is, like they say, racist or delusional, or you just don't like what I'm saying, understand that today this country is continuing to be divided by the commander-in-chief and his cronies. That's a fact. There's no way to work around it. When are you going to say enough is enough? When are you going to say that to call a thing and do something about it instead of othering us because we're pushing back? Why don't you push back? Why don't you take a stand and say, yes, we need a president that's going to stand up and try to unify the country, which he hasn't done. If you can't say that, then you want this. And this is the result of that shit. It's as simple as that.
All right, Mike. No argument there. Appreciate it. And I've said it all the time as well, that I think we voted for division. It's not like Trump was running on a platform of unity. You know, Democrat cities suck. Democrat politicians are incompetent. I mean, he was making it clear, my side is great, their side sucks. I mean, he was running on division. So it is what it is. And I see in the comments, I can't see all that. J at XCN says Mike is correct. Fair enough. Looking in the comments, Charlie Kirk spread propaganda. Yeah. Laughing my ass off. You people are dumb. So dumb, says Jack Ripper. Well, Jack, make your piece. State your comment. You got plenty of room to say it. I don't mind the criticism. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. We are always MAGA friendly. So feel free to drop your comment and I'll read it out. You can be critical of anybody, including yours truly, on this program, but just simply saying you're dumb doesn't really add anything to the statement. It makes me feel even dumber reading it because you gave me nothing to work with. Watch the footage. Charlie's shirt flies up as the shot hits. Why? I don't know. I mean, just the simple amount of force that his body absorbed. I don't know. Now, I did hear somebody suggest that he had a bulletproof vest under his shirt, and they're claiming that the round hit the vest and bounced up and hit him in the neck. I don't know. He bled out a lot, so getting hit with a round that's spinning or that doesn't go into you straight makes sense. There is a photo out there. I'm not even going to try to put it on my program, but there is a photo out there of him at the moment of impact. It's a big red spot on his neck. No, nothing's coming out of it yet. The moment he got hit, there's a photo out there like that. But, and I don't, like I said, I'm only telling you what I'm hearing. So I'm no ballistics expert. I'm not even a ballistics amateur. But they did suggest that he got hit in some sort of vest that he was wearing under his shirt. I don't know if he had a vest on or not, but they said he got hit in the vest and the round ricocheted up and then hit him in the neck. So for folks who ask, well, why did his shirt pop up and things like that? That could have something to do with it. And like I stated, if a round bounces, is deflected, now that round is spinning and it may go into you the long way, which is going to create a much larger wound, which could actually have something to do with why he bled out so much. I've never seen anybody bleeding like that from taking a shot, but a jugular shot could do that, I suppose. Looking in the comments, did you not see the close-up video? Yeah, I saw the close-up video. That's what we're talking about. No, that was a clean neck shot. It's on BitChute, clear as day. All right, fair enough. Whatever it was deadly accurate. So Or where's your thoughts and prayers to protect him? We'll leave it at that. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to 40,000. We can certainly make that happen. 300 plus of you in here. Tap the screen, get the lights on up. This sounds like that sounds like he was supposed to go. Well, whoever pulled the trigger definitely wanted him to go. I mean, they knew what they were doing. They hit him in the right spot. I don't think anyone that saw that, and there was at least about an hour or two between the time Trump pronounced him, because Trump is the one that pronounced the guy as deceased long before Turning Point or the medical professionals did. And there was about an hour or two between the time he got hit and the time he pronounced him. I don't think there's anybody that saw that happen and thought there was hope for that guy. I think even Marjorie Taylor Greene took to social media and stated that he was alive in critical condition or whatever, but I think everybody realized that, if his heart's still pumping or whatever, he at best, you're probably looking at a vegetable. He's not, I'm thinking if for some reason he comes through that, he's looking like Christopher Reeve. I just could not imagine anybody coming through that, because the way he's pumping out, it would have smashed all the bones in your neck. Like, there's no way this guy's going to survive this. When a bullet comes out, it makes the exit wound bigger. Yeah, certainly one with high velocity, like what he probably was hit with. No more hate from Charlie, says AC Pfeiffer Rowe, and that's absolutely true. You're not going to hear anything from him. Let's talk about the school pew-pew that happened today. That's more important than Charlie. Look, it is more important. I get your point, but in terms of how it affects our political sphere in this country, it's not more important. And I don't want to make it sound like Charlie Kirk should be viewed or actually talked about more than innocent children losing their lives. But the fact is, the way our country is set up, innocent children lose their lives in school on a routine basis. We don't talk about what just happened. How long is Denkow? Appreciate that. Thank you for that galaxy, by the way. Thank you, folks, that help your boy reach his goal. I got, the TikTok caps, you see I got a goal of 20 up there. Help your boy out. It helps me keep this stuff going. Anyway, thank you, Denkow, by the way. But no, school events like that, they're so damn routine. They don't get a lot of credit. They don't get a lot of talk. You give them thoughts and prayers. You talk about it today. You might talk about it the next day in terms of the death totals. You might have a couple parents on you can interview. You might have a couple ballistics experts and maybe the chief of police in that town. But then by the third day, it's not getting discussed no more. It is that quick. Charlie Kirk will be getting discussed for a while. He will be getting discussed for a while. So I'm not saying he's more important than innocent school children, but I'm saying in terms of news and things like that, he's going to get discussed a lot longer. I didn't see any people of color, says Olitha. I can't imagine a whole lot of black people going to a Charlie Kirk event. And thank you, didn't count. Going back to the box, Miss Mo Better. Proud Boys stand up, says Mr. R. I got one of my Proud Boys that come on the show routinely. I'll have to ask him about that. I see in the comments, Mr. R says, Proud Boys stand up. Miss Mobetta, good evening.
Peace, Sam. Peace.
This is not a peaceful day, though.
For me, it is, and I'm not saying that to glorify what happened to him. For me, I'm at peace in where I am.
Fair enough.
And I implore anybody that's on the internet. Let me tell you something. The internet is undefeated. This is not the place for you to be sensitive.
Yeah.
First of all, again, I don't condone violence in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But when you set your own precedent, who could argue with that? He wasn't out here talking nice to people. And only God knows what conversations or things that he said to the things that we didn't see, to people that we didn't see.
Now, speaking of him not talking nice to people, as you just stated, in the comments, SGB72 says, according to Charlie Kirk, black people would not possess the skill or knowledge to pull off a 200-yard shot. Do you think he viewed blacks that low?
He did. And not only did he view it, he said it. Out of abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So people talking about, I hope he did repent before he was taken out. But for the rally that he was going to today, I doubt it. I doubt it. He was going to speak that same speech, that same hate that he's been speaking this whole time, which is what got somebody after him.
Well,
Like I said, it wasn't because he was out here talking nice.
Well, Stevie D in the comments says, look, the guy just was encouraging debates. This is wild. So in other words, look, because there's nothing wrong. I enjoy a good debate myself. I mean, was it genuine hate or him just promoting free speech and open dialogue?
Well, if it was free speech, you would hear him speak of stuff coming from all aspects of the government, of people's lives, or whatever. He was only speaking from one side. And unfortunately for MAGA, Trump, hate follows him. Like I said, you don't have to intend something for you to achieve it.
Yeah. What I'm looking for, I mean, I don't want to say I'm looking forward to, but I do want to hear somebody put together a compilation of some of the things. Wow. Because I didn't follow this guy. I only knew him because he would pop up in my FYP. I listened to him debate some of these college kids and rag them out, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to him. But I would like to hear some of his most controversial statements because some of the stuff you guys saying is alarming.
You'll have to go watch the YouTubes and stuff. And now his stock is going to go up. You work more dead in certain situations, but his stock will go up now. Everybody's going to be going because there's a lot of people who didn't watch him. Like you just so happen somebody said something that Charlie Kirk done said because he said some really inflammatory things, very derogatory. And like I said, if he wasn't about hate, it wouldn't have been about a person or a group of people. It would have been about a policy. He was talking about black people specifically. When you get into specifics, that's breeding hate.
Yeah, I gotta hear it. I have never heard him say this stuff. But like I said, I'm curious to hear it now. Somebody said Rod S says his net worth was worth $13 million. You can make a lot of money preaching hate. You can make a lot of money preaching hate. Because I've had people tell. Go ahead.
MAGA supports they supported hatred through and through. And that can't be denied. The proof is in the numbers.
I mean, I've had people tell me, look, you speak well, you can host a good show. Come on over to our side, and do what Candace Owens or something, because there are African Americans that run the platform where they just criticize African Americans all day, and they do make good money. You can't make good money as a black person speaking negatively of black people all the time.
Grifting. That's all that is. They out here to try to make that bag. You understand what I'm saying? But what happens is when that bag start and it start dwindling down, and then you want your black card back, and the black community like, no, your black card's been revoked.
Well,
like I don't. Just because you're pro something doesn't mean you have to be anti anything.
Yeah, I don't think they care about the black card.
That don't mean I'm anti Tim.
Yeah, I don't think they care about the black card. I mean, like Officer Tatum, for instance. I don't think he wants a black card back. He's fine. He's making a ton of money, millions of subscribers on YouTube, speaking out negative. It's like Candace Owens. If they're talking about black people, it's usually negative, and they're making good money doing it.
And look what they started dragging her ass. She might have her little podcast or something, but her numbers went down drastically.
Because the Epstein stuff.
Dropped.
Yeah, because she's criticizing Trump on the Epstein stuff.
Well, no, even before that, she was still people. She used the black people when she so-called was in trouble. She went to the Muslims and all kinds of stuff, and then when she felt like, oh, I found my niche. Let me talk about my own people, because these people fall for that. Now, if anybody that supports that means you are a hater just like she is. That's a hating low.
Well, I will say this. I mean, look. Every race has bad people within it, so there is a lot of stuff of blacks, career criminals and folks getting out of jail and folks not being held accountable, judges letting people out I mean, there is plenty of that in the black community. Now, it does exist in the white community, but what they do is we're going to point out things that are wrong, but we're only going to do it when it pertains to black people, and there's money to be made by doing that.
Well, that's the thing. What people fail to realize is what their intentions are. Black people and white people have different intentions, even if it appears like they're doing the same things.
Not all of them, do they?
No, I'm not saying all. No, but for the vast majority, like a lot of people will think I'm being racist by saying that white people are inherently racist. That's not to say they all are, Tim. But and most white households. Going back, now we're going to take it all the way back because a lot of this stuff is generational. What was their conversations? about getting rich, about them getting rich and all kinds of stuff, and staying away from black people, calling us all kind of things. So again, for you to get to the fruit of the problem, you got to go to the root of the tree.
So is there any chance, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Mike, is there any chance whatsoever that Trump sees this as a heartfelt moment to try to unite the country?
Unite, no. I don't see it at all. I don't, because that's not in him. He doesn't display that. He might send condolences because now this is a political.
He's already done that. He sent condolences to their family. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a political game for him. He's going to totally make it out to be political, or possibly find a way to make money off of it.
Well, it is political. I'm pretty sure a guy like this,
of course,
yeah, it's going to be political. I don't know if the guy's going to be liberal or not, though. But it's
you know what? I don't remember seeing him saying anything about those children that were unalived in the school. I don't remember seeing him making a statement.
Well, you already know, yeah, but do you really need to see him give a statement to children who lose their lives in school? You already know what it's going to be. My thoughts and prayers go out to the kids that lost their life. You already know what he's going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going.
I know. I know, and that's what makes people go so hard at him, because you are supposed to be a representative of the people, not just certain people, but all people. You're supposed to be the representative of the entire nation, not just the 1/3% that so-called voted for you. And that's how he displays this thing. That's how this stuff plays out. And that's why there's so much division going on, because he became a battery for the people that are bigoted and racist.
So then let me ask it to you this way. And I see your comment, handsome conservative, stating that Joe Biden did not represent all people. What are you talking about? Well, we got rid of Joe Biden. We got rid of Joe Biden. We got this guy in there. Why ain't so? I mean, does he get to do the same thing? I don't know what your point is, but
well, they all about the whataboutisms. That shit is played out. Come up with something else.
Well, speaking of something else,
show us the part that we speak about Trump that's a lie.
Well, speaking of something else, speaking of something else, this comment here, I mean, it does kind of make sense. Now, Can Do says all this guy, I just call him TK Kirkland. What is his name again? Kirk Franklin? What is his name again?
Oh, that guy that passed away.
Charlie Kirk. I'm about to call him Kirk Franklin and TK Kirkland. Look, I mean, look, what Can Do says is all Charlie Kirk did was talk and debate. Words should not be more valuable than an actual human life. What say you?
What did I just say? Well, the power of life or death lies in the tongue. It lies in the tongue. So evidently what he said pissed somebody off to the point where they took him out. So you can't just say what words won't do. Because let me tell you something. You tell the right person, go unalive somebody, guess what? It's going to happen.
Wow.
The proof was in there today. Just like you said, he was just talking. He was just talking. But again, he said the wrong thing. The power of life or death lies in the tongue. You can speak life over yourself, or you can speak death over yourself. And that's the God's honest truth, whether you want to accept it or not.
So do you, like Mike, I asked him about this, do you predict any type of retaliation? I got folks in my comments saying the Proud Boys need to stand up, things like that. Do you see any type of random retaliation for this?
No, you know why? Because Proud Boys been trying to stand up and people not having that shit. And guess what? They was meeting on Proud Boys on them bridges when they was jumping out of them U-Hauls. People are not taking that shit anymore. People not having that. They could try it if they want to. They are in the fuck around and find out phase.
Wow. So you do see America as still remaining a united country. You don't see civil unrest, civil wars, and all this crazy shit.
The unity's been gone, man. No. Period. I'm not even gonna try to come up with any kind of semantics to back that shit up. It's just no.
Well, like Alter Ego in the comments says, emotions and reactions need to chill. People need to just chill, slow it down some.
How do you take emotion out of somebody's being unalived? How do you take emotion out of it?
Certainly the way he lost his life too, seeing his graphic demise like that is something that everybody will always remember.
I didn't see the video. I'm glad I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it.
now what's going to happen? Are they going to talk about the Second Amendment or 2A? I don't know if we're allowed to say that either, but are they going to go back to talk about?
No, because the left is going to say guns don't kill people. The rhetoric of Charlie Kirk kills people. So they're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, people I don't. That had to have been a powerful weapon that person possessed to take him out like he did.
Probably a 2-2-3. Probably a 2-2-3.
You're saying it was as gruesome as it was.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've seen a good heart and lung shot to a deer where it goes all the way through the body and comes out the other side, and you see all of the fluid squirting out. It was like that.
Wow.
So, he lost about a pint of blood in the.
Knew what they were doing. They were trained. They were trained in doing what they did, and they did what they intended to do. Again, I'm sorry that he lost his life. I don't wish death upon anybody. That's horrible. That's horrible. But again, especially this day and age, how you have to really be careful how you speak, especially when you're on a public platform. You have to be careful how you speak to people and how you treat people, because look at those CEOs of these insurance companies being taken out.
Yeah,
you talk about you talking about mental health and stuff, because the insurance companies are denying people the help that they need. Of course, you're gonna be walking around with a bunch of crazy ass people in the streets.
In other words,
what the fuck you think is gonna happen?
In other words, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, Miss Mobetta.
Make that shit make sense, Tim. I don't know. Make it make sense.
We live in a country that is capitalistic and lacking in empathy. So that's what we're dealing with.
If you're sensitive about what's gonna happen, I implore you to sign off the internet today, because it's just beginning.
Yeah.
People are gonna go hard, because that man had a nasty ass attitude. He had a nasty mouth.
Mr. Mobetta, nobody does it better. Appreciate you coming through.
Deuces. Hey, Mike.
All right, moving on with the program. Cry Snowflake, says Darth. Skriels, is that what I'm reading? So you're suggesting that the right today is crying like snowflakes? Even a mouse will turn and fight when nothing is left. That is true. That is true. How many ABs has she asked? Oh my God. No replies asking me how many abortions has she had. Ask her, Tim, how many black babies has she aborted? Relevance? What's the relevance of that? I don't get that. Does that make her argument lose credibility because she's had an abortion? I don't know where you're going with that. These people are ex-military of all color that loves to play army. You really want to fight with that? I don't want to fight at all. I don't want to fight at all. I don't want us to have civil unrest in this country, because if we do, just like the first time we had a civil war, everybody's going to lose. I mean, look, Rocky in the Rocky movies, he won most of the fights. Look how he looked at the end of the fight. Is going through that something? Is that a flex? Are you happy to get beat up like that? If we have civil unrest in this country, most Americans, it'll be just like Manhattan on September 11th. Most of the people in New York know somebody that probably lost their life. I mean, you're going to have that. I mean, if we have civil unrest, even the side that wins, appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you there, JPT Farms. Yeah! Thank you. Most Americans are going to know somebody that was lost in that. Or better yet, JGS for real. Thank you for the hat and mustache. So anybody hoping for civil unrest is crazy. I mean, okay. So you ended up winning on your side, but you lost your grandma, or maybe your daughter got raped or popped in the head. I mean, that ain't a victory. That's not a victory. Not to mention what's left over of the country is going to probably look something resembling Gaza or some shit. That's not something to want. You realize how America looked after the Civil War? You got whole towns that are rubble and shit. That ain't something that do you want to live out Mad Max? That's not something that the winning side is not living in a great environment. For a generation or two, you're in the rebuilding process. You done lost all kinds of shit. That ain't nothing to want. You're not gonna keep living your American dream when you got a nice car and a white picket fence and shit outside. If that happens, your house is probably gonna be fucking destroyed. You're gonna be living out in the woods in a tent. Red Dawn style. That's not a victory. I don't see how people want that shit. You know what the real poison is? And I'll stand on this. Smartphones crushed our brains. Stevie D? good and bad to that. Good and bad to that. Yes. Look, to me, just like the argument, guns don't kill people, people kill people. The internet don't fuck people up. People using the internet irresponsibly fucks people up. There's an awful lot of good uses for the internet. Just like there are legitimate uses for a firearm. But if you use it in the wrong way, the outcome can be bad. I mean, it's the same thing with the internet. A lot of good uses for the internet. You can be educated significantly quicker. All kinds of shit. But if you use it irresponsible, bad shit can happen. Yes, he did pass away, Purple Haze. He was announced deceased by President Trump himself about 2-3 hours ago. And then, of course, the medical professionals did it soon after. Most of the people think they can go to a range and shoot paper targets. It's a whole different when they shoot back. Yeah, but I don't know what that's got to do here. But you are right. If somebody's firing back at you, it ain't as easy to do it. If hate is in you, the internet will bring it out. That is true. Just like if love is in you, if love is in you, the internet can bring it out of you. You listen. If whatever type of person you are, maybe you should find groups of people that are like that. It helps to keep the soul kind of clear. Let me go back to the box. Continue it on with Denkel. Good evening, Denkel. It's a Take Our Country Back. I thought that was patriotic MAGA. I don't take your country back from who? I mean, I got MAGA Reacts. Sorry about that. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Hey, what's going on? Definitely not a good evening.
Not a good day. Not a good day. But how do you feel about folks that are suggesting that this guy, now I don't know a lot about him. I didn't follow him very much, but how do you feel about folks that are pointing out that he apparently has said a lot of divisive and hateful things?
Then they don't really watch or listen, man.
So he hasn't said.
The words, they don't understand them.
So what you're saying is he has not said a lot of divisive and hateful things.
The guy doesn't even curse. He's the most polite, he's always has a smile on his face. I've seen him debate Newsom. I've seen him debate TYT, all these people that hate his guts, and he's always very polite to them. He never curses.
So just to get clarity.
Anyone.
Okay, so just to get clarity, you are saying this guy has not said a bunch of divisive and hateful things.
I was maybe divisive, but not hateful. He was never hateful in anything he said. And he's always had the stats and everything. Like, he has a lot of stats memorized that he used with his debates against Newsom and TYT and all that. He was very knowledgeable, and he did his homework. But he also had his beliefs. He was a very religious man and had his beliefs. So that's where I mostly didn't agree with him because, he was some of his beliefs are a little strong.
Like, give me an example.
No, like not having, sex before marriage and just religious.
At 31, he was talking like that? In his 30s?
Listen, this man has changed the world. He's only 31. That means he changed the world in his 20s. And he has changed the world because he did help get Trump elected. He changed how we look at debate. He changed a lot of shit. So as accomplished as he is at 31, that's fucking amazing. I was partying and drinking and doing all kinds of dumb shit at fucking in my 20s. And
well, as
T, he achieved. He's got 2 kids, a wife.
Yeah, I've seen the photo. Well, as T Mac in the comments, T Mac 4777 says, then why so many people don't like him? And I see Ms. Mobet also says having a smile doesn't make you an angel. Listen, Obama was well spoken, had a nice smile. And you guys, a lot of folks on the right thought he was a racist and terrible. So, and he didn't swear all of the same stuff you're talking about in regards to Charlie Kirk.
And that's why we elected Obama twice.
Yeah, but a lot of folks on the right, think he was saying. Yeah, but a lot of folks on the right suggest he said a whole bunch of divisive and hateful stuff.
I mean, again, divisive is one thing, hateful is another. So, yeah, Obama did do a lot of divisive stuff, but I don't think he really was trying to do anything hateful.
Somebody is telling me to ask you, Brian in the comments, Brian Wingate is saying, ask about the George Floyd comments. Did Charlie Kirk make any comments about George Floyd?
I've never seen him either way. I don't really watch George Floyd.
Then how the hell can you defend him? If you don't watch him, then how can you defend him?
Enough of him. Well, apparently I watched him more than you guys. I've seen him a few times, but I don't watch him like I watch. I watch Ben Shapiro way more. I'm the same as you. I watch all the same shit you watch apparently, except I don't watch. I think you watch Fox News way more than I do.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Fox. I've been watching Fox for 20 plus years. So.
I don't watch that much Fox. I mean, today's the exception because of this, but
yeah.
I try to stick to like, you know, Brett Baer, who's just all he does is tell the news. He doesn't try to do too much talking points. So I try to stick to Fox only when I want to watch news like this. This is news, not politics, you know. But yeah, no, this guy was nice. Like, there's a lot of people like I always say Trump's a piece of shit, but he's doing a good job. But this guy wasn't a piece of shit at all. Like, from what I've seen of him, and again, I don't watch him religiously. He's got so much content. He goes out and debates people for 8 hours at a time. So
yeah, I can't
watch shit like that.
I wanna, because I'm looking for comments and clips on the guy. Like I said, I don't have anything queued up. This was a kind of heart-to-heart live stream, but I want to play something real quick, and I'm gonna be hearing it with you guys for the first time. But this is Charlie Kirk.
On blacks that were killed by police year by year. Sometimes as low as 8, sometimes it's 20. So the average is about 15. Okay. Go and look at the biggest lie ever told, the George Floyd documentary. Go look at the original Hennepin County medical. Don't just take my word for it. Do that research. And in that research, if you're like, oh, dang, I was lied, use that as what we call taking the red pill. And you'll see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Thank you.
It sounds like he's trying to say that some documentary is saying that George Floyd died of a different way. So, I mean, he has said, apparently he has said, go ahead.
I mean, he debates a lot like me, except he's a lot more knowledgeable than I do because it's his profession. You know, he's got his facts straight. He's got his facts straight way more than I ever do. And he's knowledgeable about all this stuff as far as you heard him off the top of his head, you know, tell you how many
unarmed blacks that were killed by
cops and stuff like that.
Wait, say that again?
You see how, like, off the top of his head, he knows all these stats, like, you know, how many black people were killed by cops.
I don't, you know something, well, let me just say it like this. If you don't know what a person is telling you, whether it's true or not, they can throw stats to you and make it sound like they're a genius. I mean, people can give you all kinds of stats about how Trump won the 2020 election, for instance. Doesn't mean they're true. If you're not paying attention to poll numbers and things like that, it'll sound like they're very educated. But the fact is,
that's why he tells you to Google it. If you don't believe it, Google it. And I think he's one of the more straight shooters. That's the other part of all this.
I'll just say this: they actually had a trial. MAGA, they actually had a trial where all the information came out about George Floyd. His officers and chief of police testified that his knee procedure was not what they were taught. I mean, you don't need to Google it. You can just watch the trial. It all came out.
I did Google it, and I saw the video, and a lot of the narrative was not what I saw. And he said, look at the autopsy report. The autopsy report showed he had fentanyl in his system, which you guys keep ignoring, even though fentanyl kills a lot more people than cops do.
Yeah, but you can you can actually put your knee on the neck of somebody who is high on fentanyl and still kill them, right?
Look, man, this is one of your black holes. This is not the day for.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is just because a murder victim. Hold on, you're not letting me talk. You're not going to do that on the program. I'm simply saying just because somebody has fentanyl in their system, don't mean you can't kill them in another way. I mean, if I actually take out a firearm and take somebody's life and it turns out they got fentanyl in the toxicology report, that don't mean that the gunshot didn't take their life. I mean, showing.
This wasn't a gunshot. This was a takedown move that hasn't killed anyone else that I know of. But having somebody's neck on your back like that, it's fentanyl kills people every fucking day. But a cop holding somebody down, which
I don't think. Have you ever seen a cop sit on? Have you ever seen a cop sit on somebody for 9 minutes to say it doesn't take lives? Have you ever seen another case of that?
It's so rare. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you got fentanyl taking people out every day, but this happened once, and obviously after that, everybody's afraid to do it. But before that, people used to tackle. I've seen cops tase, tackle, do all kinds of shit that would easily cause someone to die if they're
and chances are, MAGA, you're right. You said you've seen them. Chances are, MAGA, some of them people were dying. But because there were not a lot of cameras around, because let's be real, with George Floyd's criminal history, if that wasn't caught on camera, that dude is a justifiable shoot all day. Even the black community probably wouldn't have challenged it because of how long his criminal history was. The only reason that became an issue is because they caught it on camera. But somebody like that losing their life, he was resisting arrest, look at his police report, this is a bad guy, he's just buried. Nobody would care. So chances are, when you say other cops have been doing this, they probably have been killing people. People just let them get away with it because there wasn't no camera.
I understand, but fentanyl kills a lot more people of all races, including black people, than cops do. Yeah, we're blaming the cop because, like, it's not clear either way. Because we know so again, I don't want to fall into this hole because I want to talk about Charlie Kirk and his accomplishments and how sad you guys are for like putting him down like he is. I mean, you guys don't understand the right.
Give me what you got. Give me what you got.
How much you guys demonize the right? Like,
well, wait a minute. No. Wait, hold on.
Divisive, hateful person.
You didn't.
One good person on the right in your eyes.
Name one good person on the right. I didn't.
Like, not you, but like Mo. I want Mo better and Denkel and Michael to name one good person on the right that they don't think is a Nazi. Because everyone on the right is automatically a Nazi.
Well, everybody, that's politics though, Mag. Everybody on the right is a racist or a Nazi. Everybody on the left is a socialist or they hate America. That's how politics works.
I come up here and I said Biden is a Nazi or anyone on the left.
I'm talking about what the guy you voted for said. He hates Democrats because they hate America. He said that.
Yeah, he hates the leadership. He doesn't hate the.
That ain't what he said. Nothing about the leadership. He didn't say the leadership in his statement.
He's always insulting the leadership. He's always.
He didn't mention the leadership in that statement.
For me, he was specifically talking about something they were voting against. So he was clearly talking about Congress.
Okay.
No, we went over this again. Okay. This is one of your mini black holes I don't like to fall into, but I fall into anyway.
So what are you getting at then?
What that clip for me? He was talking about them voting against something, and he said they hit America because they're voting against this bill that he was trying to pass.
Right. And I made it clear to you that if you say, let's say I live in Nancy Pelosi's district, and you say you hate her because of what she voted against. And if I'm voting for Nancy Pelosi and I like what her position is, well, if you hate her for her position, then how am I supposed to think you don't hate me? I feel the same way she do. If you hate people that think like her, then that means you hate me too. So what's your point?
Yeah, except she's actively working against what I think is the best thing for America.
And I'm voting for her, who is actively. It's the same thing.
Okay, but that's not how it works.
That is how it works.
He talks shit specifically about the leadership.
Don't talk shit if you don't want. Don't talk shit if you don't want to smell. That's all I got. Nobody made him make those statements.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't smell. He smells, but not because he's throwing shit at Americans, because he's throwing shit at fucking the leadership.
Well, I'm just gonna say, when you start talking about when you hate Democrats, and I hate all Democrats. Look, you're not gonna have a whole bunch of Democrats that go, well, he ain't talking about me. They're not gonna do that.
This guy's been on TV like hundreds of millions of hours, yet you took one little line where he was. I
hate all Democrats. That's one little line.
You're translating it.
I hate all Democrats.
On the left, we hear you guys saying shit about us, the people who voted for Trump, the people, you guys hate all of us, where we only hate the people that are actually affecting things, the people in the leadership who are voting against things.
Making fun of Nancy Pelosi's husband assassination attempt.
Because we don't know him. I mean, that's the other thing that I want to bring up.
What the hell was that? What?
We don't know him. I don't know Pelosi's husband. I didn't even know she was fucking married until like that happened.
So because you don't know him, wait.
I don't know what the fuck.
So because you don't know him, it's okay to make fun of somebody trying to kill him?
Again, I didn't make fun of anybody trying to kill him. It's just the whole situation was weird. We never heard of this shit.
How about just offering the man condolences?
And then they found him with his pants off and all kinds of shit was going on. I mean, I
she's a crooked person.
So,
You saying crazy stuff. We didn't know him. That's the craziest answer I've ever heard for making. Hold on, let me play this. Hold on, hang on.
She's a crooked person. She's a bad person. Evil. She's an evil, sick, crazy. Oh no. It starts with a B, but I won't say it. I want to say it. She's a crooked person.
No, he's talking about Nancy Pelosi's husband. I'm Nancy Pelosi, rather. What did you say?
You know what identity politics is?
Identity politics, yeah. What about it?
That's the most divisive shit there is, period. That is what's dividing us, and that's all on the left. Because when Trump talks about anything, it's like American versus maybe illegal immigrants who are non-Americans.
That's
specifically about this group or this race. He usually talks in general.
Yeah, that's your opinion. No, the groups of people don't see it the way you do. Here's a problem.
Well, that's because the identity politics is working on them.
Yeah. Well,
you got them turning on each other because they think they're part of this group, and this other group hates them because of their race or whatever. But honestly, it takes effort to be racist. Most people don't care to be racist because it takes a lot of effort.
You guys sure didn't say that when you were saying Joe Biden was a racist. All you had to do was say, vote for me and you ain't black, and you had no problem calling him a racist.
Yeah, because he's old enough to care about that.
I thought it took effort.
Like I said,
I thought it took effort.
It took effort, yeah, I'm talking about regular people here. I'm not even talking about politicians. I'm talking about regular people. You gotta know the race. You
ain't gotta do all that shit. You don't need to know it.
Better than them.
You don't need to know anybody to be hateful toward them. All you know is they different from you, and that's enough to go with. You don't need all this other stuff you're talking about. To be racist, all it takes is I don't like them.
It takes effort, trust me. It's not something you're born with. You have to learn it, and you have to be in an environment where you have to learn it. And you have to know the race to hate them.
Okay.
And most people don't know anything about the other races.
I'll just say this. And by the way, SGB 72, I found a 9-minute clip about the black pilot. I can't play a 9-minute clip. I was trying to find something more summarized. I cannot find it.
I know what you're referring to. With the black pilot, he wasn't attacking the black pilot at all. He was attacking DEI. He's saying DEI is dumb. And because of DEI, he can't trust anyone who's hired by DEI. The black pilot was the example he used, but that could apply to anyone that's hired by DEI.
Well,
if it was a white guy that he knew was hired by DEI, he wouldn't trust him flying his plane either.
Yeah, you and I totally disagree with that because there's a whole lot of people in this country that are white that got their. Hold on, hang on. There are a heap of people in this. There are a heap of people in this country that got their job, got their position solely because they are white. That is the way this country was founded. All of a sudden, you started getting black people that are getting jobs because of their skin color or some woman or some gay person, and now it's became a problem. You don't think every position of leadership in this damn country for most of its history was held by a white man? You think they all had to merit? You don't think being a white guy had anything to do with it?
We didn't know whether they did or not.
That's bullshit.
If we know for a fact these people are being hired because of DEI, it doesn't matter their race. It could be any race you could think of. It could even be white people. If I know for a fact someone's
that's crazy.
His daddy gave him the job.
That's crazy.
Look at
That's
nepotism.
Crazy. You're gonna tell me
almost the same thing, and we hate nepotism regardless of race.
That is crazy. You're gonna tell me. You're gonna tell me when you look at your town, if you were to put out a map of all of the police chiefs of your town, or all of the fire chiefs, or all the park district heads, you'll notice for the first 100 years or so of your town, they were all white men. You think that's just by coincidence, huh? You think a woman could have got that job? A Hispanic woman could have got that job, huh?
That's because that's a whole different argument.
It's DEI. They're getting jobs that they don't deserve.
No, it makes sense that the majority race of a country got the job because they were the majority race.
Even in the black cities, even in cities with a large black population, they were still getting the jobs. Really?
I don't know the history of every city and why everyone got hired. But
there are more.
They got the job because their daddy gave them the job. Who likes nepotism? Name one person.
I think you are literally. I think you're making it up as you go.
It's the same shit as DEI.
I think so. You don't buy into the notion that white males getting all these positions of leadership had anything to do with simply them being white males. You don't think that had anything to do with it. They just happen to be the most people in the country. By the way, do you realize that there were equally as many white women and they not getting any of these jobs? You ever look at that?
Okay, again, I'm not arguing that point. This is the thing. I'm not arguing your point at all. I'm just saying if I knew for a fact that this person got hired because they were a white man or because they were someone's son, I would be like, fuck them. They're going to do a bad job.
I think what you're saying is
example, is race free. My example is someone's son getting hired. It's the same as a DEI hire. And most people hate it when the boss's son gets the job because they know they're going to suck at it.
I think you're absolutely crazy. I mean, whether you're talking about anchors at news stations, we're talking about, like I said, different heads of companies. Everybody was a white male, even though there were an ample amount of white women out there. Nobody else is getting these positions, and you don't think, hold on, you hear me out. The only people getting all of these jobs are white males, and we're going to pretend like there was no qualified black, Hispanic, or white woman. Nobody else is qualified. It was just only white men you could find. You don't see any DEI in that whatsoever.
No, there probably was.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know which was DEI hire, which wasn't. But if I know for a fact they're DEI hired, because like say they're the son of someone, or we know they just got hired because of their whatever the reason is. It doesn't have to be race. If we know someone's hired for any other reason other than merit, you're gonna talk shit about their fucking job performance.
Okay. I gotta move it on, but I think what you said is true.
Situation with the pilot. If you knew it doesn't matter the race of the pilot. Was a white pilot hired because of DEI, like you said, your example? I still wouldn't trust him to fly the plane.
I mean, to me, the Tuskegee Airmen is a perfect example where they were black pilots that were really effective at their gigs, and they didn't get the promotions throughout the military like white pilots did, even though they clearly were better. So all of them pilots that got promoted above them, were DEI. All of them were. So there's plenty of examples of this stuff throughout the past. Talking about black pilots, huh? These were some of the best pilots the military could offer.
Talking about the present.
Yeah, right. You damn right we talking about the present. You damn right we talking about the present, because the past doesn't fit your argument. The past don't fit your argument. That's why you want to talk about the present, because the past makes it clear the shit you're talking about now was happening then. You don't want to talk about that.
But Kirk wasn't talking about the past. He was talking about the present. He didn't say like 10 years ago when I saw a black pilot, I didn't trust it. 10 years ago, he wouldn't even think twice.
Right.
But now, because we're hearing that they're doing DEI hire, now we gotta question every pilot we see.
That's the main reason why you hear people.
DEI hired, would you do the surgery? Doesn't matter the race. If they told you a doctor was 100% DEI hired, would you do the heart surgery?
No. Unless I didn't have a choice. Throughout you go back from 1970 on back. They're DEI hires. You had plenty of African Americans that could probably perform surgery and do a better job. They were not going to get the job no matter how well they were trained. So yeah, that means the white guys are DEI.
But we didn't know for a fact.
Okay, you knew, you just don't want to admit. I gotta go. And I will say that is that, listen, while I'm no fan of DEI, pretending like white men cannot be DEI I'm going to say it sounds racist to me, because that's why a lot of folks do not want to talk about history. Let's just talk about the present, because if you talk about history, you're going to realize a whole lot of shit you're complaining about in the present actually was happening then. Like a good example is you're seeing all of these African Americans, mob robberies, setting towns on fire, whatever, committing crimes, drive-bys, all this shit in Chicago. I guess it's really just in their culture to do this stuff. It's in black culture to do this. So then if you look at the history of this country, for how long the country was racist, would you suggest that it was white culture to be racist? I mean, if you're going to suggest that a whole lot of the same activity coming from the same people means it's in their culture, how do they escape that? But we don't want to talk about the past, because then it'll come up. But if we only talk about now, then we can talk about black culture and we can exclude what happened. But if you cover the whole history of America, then you're going to have to say, because remember, the crimes that are happening in the black community only go back to about the 80s, the crack epidemic. Before that, you didn't have a whole lot of high crime in black communities. So it only goes back to about the 80s. Racism goes back a lot further than that. We're talking a century or two. So I just want to say, if you're going to suggest that something's in a culture, it doesn't just stop with the African American community, does it? Unless we're talking about history is something you don't want to do. Anyway, look it in the comments though. Tim, how you get my point so wrong just proves my point. No, I think you did exactly what I stated. Your point applies to now in modern time, but it also applies to the past. But you don't like what's going to come out of the past, so you want to just stick to modern time. You want to stick to DEIs of today, because everybody knows for certain people were getting positions in the past that should not have gotten them. They were all people that look like the ones that are complaining about DEI today. So to prevent that conversation from coming up, let's not talk about the past. That's what you were trying to do. You obviously don't know the definition of DEI. No, diversity, equity, and inclusion. You're not going to fit that narrative as a white person because, diversity, equity could come out, I suppose. Inclusion, most of this, the reason you have affirmative action or diversity, equity, and inclusion is because the white male community was pretty much locking all this shit in for just themselves. So they had to try to pass these laws to equalize stuff. I'm not saying, because you say I don't know the definition of DEI, I'm not talking about DEI from a standpoint of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm talking about from a standpoint of didn't earn it. Didn't earn it. That's the other acronym folks use for DEI. I'm talking about white males getting jobs that they did not earn. That's what we're talking about. Throughout American history, you didn't have to worry about competing with Hispanic women, black women, white women, black men, nobody. If you wanted to be a chief of police, you knew when it came to making that application, all of your competition were white males. Doesn't matter how qualified anybody else was, only a white male could get that gig. That's DEI. You're not earning that. Your skin color is getting you in that line. That's what I'm talking about. Our pilot can be intoxicated and had a plane upside down in the Hudson River Dam. No, the intoxicated pilot was Denzel Washington. The one that had it in the Hudson River was Tom Hanks. I think you're confusing two movies. You're confusing Flight and Captain Sully. You're confusing two movies. Let me go back to the box, though. Nice try, though. That was funny. Dencal was, I meant to get you that, Dencal. Good evening, welcome to the program. Thoughts and prayers to Charlie and his family. Oh my God, MAGA ain't shit, says Will G. But do you got, is it wrong though? We should feel sorry for what happened to this guy, right, Dencal?
Sure.
Okay.
We give thoughts and prayers. We're starting to do the same thing that they do. I don't understand why it's a problem when we do it. We just saying, hey, sometimes karma's a bitch. They can say all they want to about, he can say he was so well-mannered and he was such a great guy. Right before he was interviewed, he was talking about why trans people did not deserve the right to have firearms because they're all mentally ill.
Wow.
And you can say what you want to, but there's a whole group of people that he is basically saying they don't deserve rights in our country like everybody else does. So therefore, I can call that him spewing hate, saying that all of these people don't deserve Second Amendment right, which was supposed to be for all Americans.
And I will add on to that by saying, if you believe the mentally ill, if you believe transgender are mentally ill, what other rights are they going to lose? Because let's be clear, you wouldn't want a pilot that's mentally ill. You wouldn't even want somebody driving down a highway in a car that's mentally ill. Many careers you would not want a mentally ill person. So if you can deem them as mentally ill, you can really shut them off completely. Once you get a politician in there that is actually able to, by way of legislation, deem transgender as mentally ill, you can really make their lives hard. They won't be able to do quite a bit.
More than hard, you can slaughter them and say they were mentally ill.
What do you mean?
You can make up something and say they came after you.
Wow.
You know how those trends are.
Yeah. Wow. But like I said, I
want to say, and I'll keep saying it over and over again. Racism is mental illness.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
I'm going to keep saying it until people start clicking in their head. When people believe, whether taught by their parents or however they got that information, that they are somehow superior to other people, they are mentally ill. The same way they say if a man believes he's a woman, he's mentally ill, or vice versa. It's the same premise. Yeah. And now I'll move on from that.
But as I often say, the difference between somebody who's a supremacist or a racist versus somebody who is a transgender is the transgender person admits they're transgender. So it would be a lot easier to diagnose them and hold them in a corner. The supremacists and racists will tell you flat out, I'm not a supremacist. I mean, the guy will have actually a sheet on his head with eye holes. I'm not, I just had an extra sheet and it got holes in it. I mean, they would not tell you the truth on that. So it's going to be harder to diagnose it.
You're talking about diagnosing them. We know there's vast amounts of racist people out there, whether they want to admit it or whether they'll say it out loud. That has nothing to do with it. They're saying that people that believe something that is inherently not true is a mental illness. So I'm saying racists are mentally ill. Yep. And one thing I will explain to, and I will say this to white people because they don't seem to understand that DEI does not mean unqualified people.
No, it means black.
Those people that get those jobs have qualified under the same standard as everybody else that went to school. So when you see a black pilot, you should be assuming that he's better qualified than the white guy because he's had to go through the racist people that ones that give the qualification.
Yeah. Had to work twice as hard to get it. To me, and I know my beloved MAGA on the right side of the aisle is going to disagree with me, but to me, DEI has kind of become synonymous with black. Now, I know there's some women that get called DEI. I know there are trans and LGBT members, but it's really become synonymous with blacks. You see a black person in a position of, high esteem or a position of leadership. DEI, when you hear somebody talking about DEI, it's generally somebody who's black. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's become synonymous with, I don't believe black people are capable of doing this, which is what people are saying about the pilot comment that they're saying, Charles. I haven't heard him say it, but yeah, it's
I heard him say it. And basically what he's saying is anytime you see a black pilot, you should question his ability to perform the job. When I can tell you that you can look through the history of fucking avionics and not a black man has been seen crashing a fucking plane.
That's a good point. That is a good point. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. When you look at you look at all of the commercial crashes that have happened, it's rarely a black person that was at the controls when it happened. That's a really good point.
And then, I'm looking at this, the handsome conservative. This is going back to when you were talking earlier. She said, no, when you beat people over the head with history, you piss them off, and that's the problem. So we shouldn't talk about how we were fucking treated and how everything, the past lets us know how we got to the present. So how far can we go back when we talk about what's going on today?
I think they're okay. I think they're okay with you going back in history as far back as you want to go. I just think they don't want to hear about black history. I mean, if you want to talk about anything pertaining to, let's say, the Confederate South, they're happy. I mean, it's just we don't want to hear about, because black history is terrible. I mean, what was done to them and what happened is horrible. So as long as you can talk about how we, founded this nation and how we, defeated the Native Americans, they're happy with all of that stuff. You can talk about the Pilgrims and Thanksgiving, all that shit. It's just we don't want to hear about what was done to African Americans. That's the only part of history that people really don't want you talking about.
Right, and which we know because the president is jumping through hoops to make sure that the kids don't learn about what the hell actually happened. He wants to actually change national museums and tell them what to put in it and what their displays should say. Yeah. So when we say that he's doing that, which to me is open and closed case of racism, they have no answer for that. But then when you say he's racist, they'll say, he hasn't done anything that's racist. He hasn't done anything I can see. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, I always say there are some people who can find racism in literally anything. They'll look at the sky and say, why ain't the sky black sometimes? There's people who find racism in anything, and then there are also people who will find racism in nothing. You could literally have a bunch of people standing around while guys hanging up their head. I mean, some people cannot see racism no matter what. And I think that you have a lot of that on. Now, they can see it when it's being done towards maybe white people or coming from a liberal, because vote for me and you ain't black, being racist is a very low bar. They can see that. But then if, the guy's throwing up a Roman salute, talking about my heart goes out, they don't see any of that. So I don't know if it's that they don't see it or if it's a case that they don't want to admit it.
Right. The president said not too long ago that white men are the most oppressed people in the country to this day. Why they run all Fortune 500, they fucking control all of the fucking government, they control all of this shit, but they're being oppressed.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that, I think today. I heard somebody else say something like that. So, but at the end of the day, you do believe it is wrong for liberals to be, because Gangsta Grandma was happy this guy lost his life. You do agree that that is wrong?
I'm not saying that people should be happy about the death of anyone. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is don't use outrage, selective outrage, because today the president of the United States lowered the flag to have staff. He's giving this man like a military type honoring around the country. When a couple of months ago, when those two Democrats in Minnesota the people went to their house and gunned them down, he said, "You think that they lowered half staff? Do you think that he said he wasn't even going to go to Minnesota and talk to Tim Walz because it would be a waste of his time?"
That's a great point that you had two representatives in the state of Minnesota get gunned down. Well, they both got gunned down. One of them survived, but they got gunned down at their homes and their spouses. You don't lower the flags to have staff for them, but you do it for a conservative podcaster. That is playing sides badly.
And he wants to give goddamn Rudy Giuliani the Medal of Freedom for some bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I could go on and on. They keep saying we keep complaining about stuff. It's because we see the shit. And if we don't get equal treatment, we are going to complain. They're talking about, well, why y'all ain't up in arms because that guy killed that lady on the train? Because we know he's going to get due process. He probably get the electric chair. Yeah. What is there for us to protest? The man was mentally ill. He committed crimes. He went into jail. He did his time, and he got out. What should we protest about?
Well, their complaint is that you're talking about the black man that stabbed the Ukrainian refugee on the commuter train. They're saying that due to his criminal history, he should have never been out to begin with to even do that.
Look, but that's the judicial system that they fucking created. Why would I go out and protest on the streets about laws that we can't control and we didn't create? Now, if they want to go back, which I know they don't want to go back in history, but if they would go back, they could understand why there's so many people out here walking the streets with mental illness. It's because Ronald Reagan destroyed the whole mental illness the whole system in the country. He got rid of the insane asylums. He started pushing it out to the states to take care of their own. And now what we got, if you want to, you can buy a house and open it up and have a couple of rooms and get a couple of mentally ill people to come to live in your place, and you can make sure they got food and they got stuff to eat. That's not taking care of the mentally ill.
Yeah, the problem is, I think the problem is we've become for lack of a better word, a selfish society. Everybody's like, self-reliance, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't care about my fellow man. I don't want my tax money going to help my fellow man, even if they're mentally ill. I mean, no matter what you try to do for the next man, there's always people who are going to say, who's going to pay for that? Because I don't want to. I don't care if it's food for the homeless, mentally ill treatment, universal health care, tuition, whatever. You name it. The argument is always who's going to pay for that, because we do not care enough to help each other, which is why I pushed back when Trump was saying, we're going to stop doing things for people overseas. We're going to focus on Americans first. The hell we will. We don't care about each other either. So the minute... Go ahead.
He says that, and the next thing you know, we surrounded Venezuela and blowing up ships and shit. We all over there. We just allowing everything to go on because we want to wash our hands of the responsibility of being the only superpower in the country. We want to let all of these countries are coming together, and people don't understand how big of a meeting that was last week when all of those fucking leaders got together and started plotting on how to remove America as the lone superpower. And the way they're going to do it is by getting off of the petrodollar to allow people to move and buy and sell and trade without including America, so we don't get our fucking cut.
Wow. What do you think the chances are Taiwan is going to, China's going to encroach in Taiwan? Because right now seems like the perfect opportunity to do that. I mean, Trump's got so many things on his plate with Israel and the Palestinians. Now Israel done bombed another, somebody in Qatar, so the Qataris are talking about they may retaliate against Israel. So Israel is attacking too many damn people. Obviously, Russia and Ukraine is still going on. What could we really do if China decided to take a swipe at Taiwan right now?
Sit on our fucking thumbs like we doing right now when Russia tells us to kick. Remember when Obama made the red line in Syria?
Yes, and they said he was a pussy for that. People? Yeah, they said he was a pussy for making threats and didn't follow through on it.
We can make a mashup of how many times Trump has told fucking Putin to stop the war. He done crossed over every red like 4 times in a row.
Yeah, I did a video, and I think he has threatened Putin about a half dozen times. If you don't do this, it's like if you touch me, I'm gonna fuck you up. Hit me again. I bet you won't hit me on the back. I bet you won't touch my arm. Like, you just getting your ass beat. Like, at one point, that's what it looks like is what he's doing, is he keeps telling them, if you do that, I'm gonna get you. Okay, well, shit, if you do that, then, well, what about that? I mean, he just keeps coming up with stuff.
But the moment Zelensky said, hey, I don't agree with what you're saying, he slapped the shit out of him, huh? He beat the hell out of him. Well, you can't have no defense, no weapons, no nothing, no security, no intelligence, because you don't have the cards. But now when somebody else does it, he has a fucking red carpet for the motherfucker, is out there clapping when he lands. He got American Marines out there laying down the carpet in front of the Russian damn plane. And he comes out of that with nothing, and he says, we had a constructive conversation. And that night, he bombed the fuck out of damn Ukraine.
Yeah, that looks bad. Real quick before we move it on, Will G says MAGA wants us to stop talking about Charlie Kirk, but they won't stop talking about that mentally ill black man that killed the woman on the commuter train. Do you see validity in that?
I see the hypocrisy. And the last thing I want to say before I go is I made sure I tuned in to Fox News to see how they were setting the narrative. And what I saw was Jesse Waters sit up there and say, they, talking about Democrats, are at war with us. What are we gonna do?
Before the guy was even identified.
Before the guy was identified. So I just want them to think about it as they tell us what we should be thinking and what we should be saying, and we need to calm down and all of that stuff. Somebody on national TV, on the most watched news network, says that the people in America are at war with each other and asking them, what are we going to do? Before I hear another motherfucker tell me to calm down the rhetoric and we shouldn't be saying this and we shouldn't be saying that, and we saying that shit on TikTok. This motherfucker said it in front of millions of people. So if the shit don't slow down, you can blame those people who run those networks for allowing that type of shit to happen. I can't argue with that. Appreciate that galaxy too, by the way. Thank you, man. Yep. I always love to support the program. Thank you. Will G says, as long as the immigrant looks like Elisa from Frozen, they will get all the support they could possibly get. So basically blonde hair, blue eyes, and listen, what the guy did on the commuter train was wrong. But I do agree with what Will's saying, is that there's a color dynamic to it. But that ain't something that's just done on the right. I can both sides this one, because if Kyle Rittenhouse was black, Black Lives Matter wouldn't have been involved in it as much. I mean, if George Zimmerman was black Lives Matter wouldn't have been involved in it. So sometimes it is a racial dynamic from both sides. And of course, in this case, on the commuter train in North Carolina, if that black man took the life of a black woman, the right would not be running with that story. They wouldn't. I mean, they would be talking about crime. Better yet, they probably wouldn't cover it at all, because they're focused on crime in liberal cities.
So yeah, if it was black on black crime in a Republican state, they wouldn't talk about it because they're not talking about black on black crime in places like Memphis and St. Louis and stuff like that. So if it was just traditional black on black crime on that commuter subway in North Carolina, the right would not have covered that. But because she's blonde hair, she's blonde, a cute little white girl, I do believe that does get folks talking. It really does. The racial issue. And of course, Trump chimed in on it as well. That's, people take sides. And like I said, I understand the citizens are going to do it, but the president shouldn't be doing it. The president shouldn't be taking sides in these issues. Kimberly says Donald Trump didn't even touch the Bible during his inauguration. Go look. He knows who God, wait a minute. Go look. He knows who God is. That's why he's questioning if he is going to heaven. His heart is full of hate. Damn. Now, his first inauguration, he did put his head on the Bible, but you are correct. His second inauguration, he did not do that. We've posted a picture on here before and things like that. He did it. I think Melania Trump was wearing like a powder bluish outfit in one of those. I can kind of see the pictures even. But you're right. In one of his inaugurations, he didn't put his hand. The second one, the one that gave him the presidency now, he didn't put his hand on the Bible. The mortician is going to be laughing when they see how tiny Charlie Kirk's pedo's penis is. Come on now, Neptune, really? Jeez. Well, you do understand just biology, what makes the male organ grow in size, right? I mean, this guy bled out, so you would expect him to be real tiny. I mean, he's not going to be. You don't expect him to be working with 8 inches with no blood in his body, do you? He's going to be real tiny. Shit. I mean, that's what you use to grow that motherfucker. Someone wrote Donald Trump is the greatest president to ever exist. If you agree, forward this. If you don't, say I don't, and forward this to the next. Yeah, I don't. He's definitely not the greatest president to ever exist. First thing I would be asking is, Stevie D, was he 6'5"? Charlie Kirk was 6'5". Huh? I'm 6'6". He was that tall? I didn't think that. I didn't know that. Now, Donald Trump being the greatest president to ever exist, my first pushback, and I do get folks sometimes that say he's the best we've ever had. My pushback is always the same thing. Give me 3 accomplishments that Trump has done that we'll be talking about 50, 100 years from now. If he's the greatest ever, he should have done things that, generations in the future are going to still be talking about. Best ever? No, I don't see that. Will G says, did you talk about what the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration and ICE to do assembly? Yeah, the 4th Amendment, we talked about that on last program. Yeah. Allowing people to search despite, based on race, skin color, job, and language, I think it was. Race, language, location, and race, language, location, and I think it was job, what job they were doing or something like that. Yeah, we did talk about it. Trump's a racist loser, says Annette. Wow. Well, he's not a loser. He's still in office. I mean, he's winning his ass off. I think he's winning a lot. We may not like how he's winning, but he is getting what he wants. Well, let's see. He's ruined the economy with tariffs that MAGA isn't smart enough to know they pay for it, not the other country. Well, let's see what ends up happening. Tap the screen, by the way. We should be getting close to 100,000. Y'all can make that happen. We're getting pretty close. Thank you for showing the program some support and a few folks that gave your boy a TikTok cap. We're not going to meet the goal, obviously, but thank you folks that have supported the program. Tap the screen. Get the likes on it. We can certainly make that 100,000 soon. He's as a conservative. You said he's in control of the Senate, the House, and the Supreme Court. Sounds like winning to me. I'm not going to argue with that. He is Trump definitely is winning politically. I mean, he survived all of the charges from the federal government, the 30 some odd 31 felony, whatever amount of felonies he got. He survived all of that. 2 impeachments he survived. I mean, he is winning. He's winning a lot. Hitting Charlie Kirk just doesn't make sense to me. He had a voice and a platform, but how much was he actually getting done on the Hill? Except, well, many are suggesting that he's the reason Trump got elected. So there's that. And not to mention, he's also got a hell of a lot of minors and college kids that are saying that he's the reason that they became a conservative. So it's converting a lot of people as well. So there's reasons not to like him. There's a reason not to like him. Black Lives Matter money goes to a white man, George Soros. What has it done for the community? I don't know because most black people ain't gave no money to Black Lives Matter. So if you ever been to a Black Lives Matter gathering, they don't collect money there. So I don't know what's going on with that. I want him to stop protecting pedophiles. Tap the screen. We'll take the next caller at 90. We're pretty damn close. But we're talking about the idea that it is a sad thing. And we're bloviating until we get to 90 there, King Finn. That's what we're doing. Get us up to 90. We can go ahead and take the next caller. I'm going to just simply say I don't favor anybody celebrating the death of, I won't say an innocent man. I don't know what he's kid. But he hasn't done anything that deserved to be murdered. So I don't believe anybody should be celebrating the loss of this guy. He said a lot of controversial things, so that is absolutely worth noting. And of course, as I said before earlier in the program, my beloved MAGA, who are my preferred guests, MAGA do not make for good complainers in this because they've done it to a lot of other folks. I mean, they've made fun of George Floyd's death, Breonna Taylor's death, Trayvon Martin's death, the attempted assassination of Nancy Pelosi's husband. So they don't make a good, group to complain about people making fun of Charlie Kirk's death. Even though they may be right, you shouldn't be making fun of Charlie Kirk, what happened to him. That is true. No one should take pleasure in that. But because MAGA and Trump himself have taken pleasure in the misery of many other people, they don't make good complainers. I mean, laughing about the notion of alligators maybe eating immigrants, having fun with the notion of deporting folks to Africa, countries they have you can't lack empathy and then expect people to show empathy towards folks you favor. It doesn't work like that. So, if you don't want people making fun of maybe one of your perceived heroes, don't do it to them. King Finn.
Hold on, dog. I got a song for you. Hold on.
Don't fuck my copyright up.
This song's dedicated to my home.
There's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing if my doorbell starts. Yeah. Is that what you're doing?
I had hit him up on that shit, but I felt like that might be a little bit.
Yeah, that would break my copyright rules.
I'm gonna be nice, you know what I'm saying, and not do that. So I'm just gonna start, and I'm gonna start my whole spiel like this. I'm not crying for a fascist, racist piece of shit. I'm not crying about that. Okay, I'm not upset about that. I, for one, don't get mad when chickens come home to roost. Okay. Now.
So wait a minute. Are you suggesting that what happened to him today is an example of chickens coming home to roost?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, it is.
How?
Yes, it is.
What the only thing the guy's done wrong, King, even in your opinion, is things he said. Do you believe words should justify somebody taking you out with a high-powered rifle?
When your words incite things like inciting in my opinion, an orange idiot to be the president, or when your words incite things like people fighting back, the Proud Boys, all of that shit's a part of the fucking same thing to me. Because it's all it's a divisive way to keep people against each other. Now, even though MAGA Reacts got over here and started talking that bullshit about how he never watched Charlie Kirk, which is garbage, because if he never watched him, how the fuck does he know about him enough to defend him? I'm just going to start there.
That's a good point.
Charlie Kirk was a motherfucking fascist. Everything he talked about, the fucked up shit that he said. And if he didn't feel that way in his heart, then maybe you don't go around spilling your disgusting, toxic waste of fucking propaganda to everybody.
You know who this Charlie Kirk situation reminds me of? Certainly for, a lot of black folks will know who I'm talking about. Kevin Samuels, remember him?
Yes, I do.
He passed away and all these women were cheering because he used to say all kinds of awful shit about women. I mean, and a lot of women were really happy to see this guy pass away.
And that's fucked up. Because I'm not happy that he did. But again, I, for one, don't get mad when chickens come home to roost. This is exactly what happens when it could be what some might say what happens when God don't like ugly.
Ooh.
You walk around spewing all of this bullshit left and right, and the words that was coming out of his mouth when he took the motherfucker, when he took the pot, was something about laws, two-way laws for gangsters, for gang members, right? That's
Yeah, he literally was talking about that two-way stuff when he got hit. He was literally talking about it.
And a handsome conservative, please, baby boy, don't think that y'all the only ones who got anything and who got boots, because we got boots too. And believe me, our boots will probably be a hell of a lot bigger than that little thing you got in your motherfucking waist. You understand? Don't get it twisted. This is me being nice. Please believe me, there are lots of other people who said a hell of a lot worse than what I'm saying. I'm just trying to be nice.
Somebody in the comments says January 6th rioter who wore Kim Auschwitz on his shirt has been arrested on animal attack charges. I haven't heard that one, but
this is what I want to pose to all of y'all listening, all of the fake ass MAGAs out there. How are y'all so much upset about this motherfucker who's spewing hate dying, or excuse me, unaliving, when y'all don't give a shit about Denver, Colorado, and them 2 students who are unalive today? How is it that y'all give a fuck about this Republican propaganda fucking puppet passing away today, but y'all don't give a shit about the 2A gun laws that we've been asking for decades, and these kids not being safe to go to school? You can get the fuck out of here with that shit.
It's interesting you would say that, because I've had Fox News playing behind me on a big screen TV ever since I started the live. They not one time have they mentioned anything about that school shooting in Colorado. I mean, I've been live for what, an hour and a half or so, or 2 hours. Not one time have they mentioned that. It's been all Charlie Kirk. They ain't even covering that.
They're not gonna, because that's not part of their narrative. See, while you watching Fox News being indoctrinated to the hate and the motherfucking division, you're not seeing that your fucking kids ain't safe.
Are you telling me by watching Fox News I'm being indoctrinated to hate?
Hey, listen. If you walk like a duck and talk like a duck, that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm just gonna tell you something, because what you're saying, I don't want to say I'm being indoctrinated to hate, but I'm not going to totally dismiss what you're saying, because I will say that, I mean, I've been watching Fox 20 some odd years. I will say that my viewing of Fox News has made me more critical towards the black community, because they do point out every flaw you can find with the. So when I'm in the hood, sometimes I have to remind myself, you grew up in this motherfucker. I'll be in the intersection at night looking around like that. You grew up in this shit. But you watch a lot of it because it is very negative. If they're doing stories on the black community, it ain't about a bunch of people that graduated from college. It's about something negative. So it can do that. I can see how a grandfather or somebody living out in the middle of Montana watching Fox News on their porch would develop a negative opinion toward blacks. I can certainly see that.
It's like MAGA reacts. It's just like MAGA reacts. He don't know shit about Chicago. But he drop out his mouth every time he get up here.
But he lives in Miami, though. He said he's grew up around Luke and Pitbull. And
that's my point. That is exactly the point. Think about this. In the 80s and the 90s, where is all the schmucks coming from?
Down in Miami.
And did black people own boats, planes, trains, any of that shit was coming in on?
I think I saw Croc in the Tubbs. I think I saw Croc in the Tubbs maybe arrest one of them.
Here we go. Now you should go to the movies like he said.
No, it was not black people. It was not black people.
Here one of them damn black people owning no fucking planes, no trains, no damn boats. And if we did, the motherfuckers wasn't going very far because they were shrimp boats in the insides of Louisiana. A motherfucking airboat. That's all the fuck we had. We ain't had no motherfucking cigar boats. Like these motherfuckers driving around with high horsepower motherfucking outboard engines, be able to get up here. We ain't had that. Y'all motherfuckers so upset about Charlie Kirk being popped that y'all forgot about them 11 people that just got a bomb dropped on them a couple days ago. Well, y'all don't know who the fuck them people are.
I'm looking at Cuomo on News Nation. He had 7.5 million followers on TikTok, 7.5 on Instagram, 5.7 million on Facebook, 5.4 million on X, and 500,000 monthly listeners. He was making a killing. He had a large audience.
All off of hate. Because that's all he spread was hate and divisiveness. He would literally go to college campuses to debate people and fucking steamroll them in the debate so that they couldn't even get their fucking point across. But that's who y'all crying about. A fascist fucking pig. Keep the fucking tears coming. Again, I'm not upset about chickens coming home to roost. Let them come. Because sometimes the chickens bring eggs, motherfucker. I ain't upset about that shit.
Okay, chickens coming home to roost is one thing, but you don't think Kirk deserved to lose his life, do you?
Man, again.
That ain't a no.
Don't they say that God has a plan? Maybe he was just a part of God's plan, because you know that's another thing they showing. Oh, he was such a great Christian man, and he believed in the greatness of America, and he was such a great, polite person. No, the fuck he wasn't. Anybody saying that shit, all they got to do is go click into fucking YouTube and bring up one Charlie Kirk motherfucker.
Well, J.D. Vance released a statement, say a prayer for Charlie Kirk, a genuinely good guy and a young father. So,
why are you bringing up Smokey Eye Vance, man? Stop bringing up the Maybelline man.
That's our vice president. Come on now.
That's the Maybelline man.
Here's Elon Musk's statement. The left is the party of murder. That's what Elon Musk posted on X today.
Because did they ask the guy that they quote unquote caught, was he a Republican or Democrat?
I don't know. It don't matter what that person was, but to blame even if that person was a true blue card carrying Democrat, to see what that one person did and go on X and say the left is the party of murder, blaming what that guy may have done on the whole Democrat party, that's insane. That's what Elon Musk stated, that the left is the party of murder. That's what he posted on his account.
I don't give a flying fuck what Elon thinks, because Elon ain't even from this fucking country.
Wow. I just can't believe he would do that, though. I cannot believe he would do something like that.
It's not impossible. He created those that stole all the motherfucking information. Why is that impossible to you? They still don't know where that money is. Where's the money?
Yeah.
Where's the millions that they fucking found, that they found in waste, fraud, and abuse? Meanwhile, Trump's trying to make a $200 million motherfucking gold ballroom in the White House. Are you kidding me? We got money to give ICE motherfucking $405 million for computers, more manpower and cars. We got that much money, but we waste, fraud, and abuse, and we still ain't seen that money.
There's a lot of money orbiting around Trump. I heard that since he's become president, he's made $6 billion. Him and his family has made $6 billion.
Yes. In backroom deals and fucked up shit, corrupt ass motherfucking deals he done made. But we ain't talking about that. We more upset about Trump.
Right, man. The man told you. The man said he was gonna get tired of winning. He's winning his ass. $6 billion in 8 months. That's impressive.
He's winning. Is America winning yet? Because I don't think so.
Maybe he'll share it with us. Go to school. Thank you. Somebody kicked off a TikTok cap. Thank you. Who the hell did that? Thank you. Well, maybe he'll share it with us, King Finn. Maricola, Monacola. Thank you.
You know damn well them Reaganomic bullshit motherfucking principles, he ain't kicking shit back. When you gonna kick it back? Because according to them, he ain't even taking the salary, remember? He ain't making no money in the presidency. He's just doing his job. He's the great American patriot, orange man madness.
I heard he can't be bought because he brought his own money. He don't need anybody else's money, so you can trust him in the White House because he can't be bought.
Look, man, that's bullshit, and we both know that. Did you hear that? That Putin, his homeboy Putin, that he ain't doing nothing to, already sent 19 motherfucking drones over in Poland?
Yeah, they in Poland now. Yeah, they hitting targets in Poland. Well, they not hitting targets, but they shot them down over Polish airspace. Yeah, I heard that.
Wait a minute, why would they have to do that? Because, he was supposed to stop with Ukraine. Since Ukraine was his only target, Poland shouldn't have to worry. Nobody in NATO should have to worry about him trying to branch out and take over other fucking countries.
I talked about this on the last live stream. If Putin does something like that with other NATO member nations, I don't feel confident that Trump can be dependent on to answer the call to Article 5. Just like I think that if Russia decided to attack Poland or something like that, we would probably come up with a reason for why Poland did something to provoke it, and therefore they've kind of disqualified. We can just come up with some kind of grounds to disqualify them. I don't think Trump would take us into war against Russia if they did something like that. I think he would come up with a reason not to do it.
No, because everybody's still under the impression that a 3-hour meeting he had wasn't a session. That boy came out with nothing in his hand but a sore booty hole and motherfucking and extra water in his cankles.
What are you trying to suggest? Damn.
That he's Putin's little bitch. What you mean? What am I trying to suggest? When you on the red carpet clapping like a little baby, and you have a 3-hour meeting with a motherfucker When don't nobody know what's going on in the meeting, shit, sound like he put a little hot too on President Putin.
Well, you do realize that Obama got caught on a hot mic also saying, once the election is over and I don't need to run again, I can do more things. I mean, they kind of do stuff like that.
No, they kind of don't do stuff like that because he's the sitting president. He's the sitting president. Not the president before, not the president after. He's the sitting president.
Obama was the sitting president when he did that.
When he said that. Is that not correct? He said that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your boy is doing that. He stood on the red carpet clapping like a little bitch like Putin told him to. He had the service members roll out the red carpet for a fucking war criminal. A war criminal. Are you kidding me? What are we talking about here?
Maybe he
Don't
just
try it, boy.
King Finn. Maybe he just playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
That motherfucker can't play Connect Four. Get the fuck out of here. He ain't playing no damn chess. He wouldn't know a chessboard if it slapped him in his motherfucking face.
That was pretty fucking funny. All right. I gotta move it on. That was pretty. That was a pretty good comeback. Okay, play Connect Four.
I just want to say. Remember, chickens coming home to roost doesn't upset me. I don't mind when my chickens come home to roost.
You sound like Reverend Wright, Obama's pastor. The chickens are coming home to roost. King Finn, appreciate it. Said he can't play Connect Four. Pretty sneaky, sis. It gotta be Gen X to remember that. How many of you guys remember that commercial? Pretty sneaky, sis. You guys are probably not old enough to. There's a meme of George Floyd and Charlie Kirk bumping fists. Really? Haven't seen that one. I'd have to see that. I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, with AI out there, there can be a meme of any damn thing. That's Malcolm X, him, and that's Malcolm X, him, Tim, that's Malcolm. What are you talking about? So there's a meme of Charlie Kirk and Malcolm X fist bumping. Trump says he plays 4D chess, but he also says he has all the cards. I don't know what chess he plays that has cards. You listen, Trump says a lot of things that make himself look great. He knows more about the war on the ground than the generals. I think he said, I know more about COVID than anybody. I mean, this just kind of, look, the guy likes to exaggerate, and people love it. I mean, you're a billionaire. So as a billionaire, you can say you know things, and people are just going to buy into it because, shit, if you wouldn't have got to that level if you were dumb. People just buy it. So it is what it is. It feels like Martin Luther King's been killed all over by Charlie being a free speech and a good person. He has been killed today. You're comparing. And look, I don't want to joke or undermine the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but comparing them to the death of Martin Luther King is a huge stretch. It's a huge fucking stretch. Jesus, that's way outside the lines. It feels like Martin Luther King has been killed all over by Charlie. Yeah, no, that ain't gonna work. No, nice try though. Now people are dumb, believe that Trump loves the poorly educated. It's what got him voted in. All right. Let me go back to the box. I'll make sure I didn't miss any. Folks, tap the screen, by the way. Get your boy on up to 110. Thank you, folks, that have been showing support, showing love to the program. I do appreciate that. By the way, we do this most days on a more happier note. Monday through Friday, we're generally here. If you like this type of open dialogue type platform, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We always are MAGA friendly. We don't have to agree. Well, we're going to always observe everybody's right to speak. We go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak. If you favor that type of a platform, I implore you to follow the program. If you're currently watching on Instagram, currently watching on TikTok, give us a sub if you're watching on YouTube. And of course, and of always, click that like button, smash that like button. Martin Luther King brought people together, Charlie divided. That's a great response to that. That is absolutely true. Martin Luther King's goal was to bring people together. Charlie Kirk's was to divide people. That is absolutely true. So I think that would be the biggest distinction to make in comparing those folks. Arshafan, good evening. Welcome to the program. That's a great point. That's a great point.
My guy.
Hey.
Hey, my guy.
How are you doing, handsome? I'm liking your shirt. My favorite colors are blue, any blue shade, and it looks good on our skin, man. You're looking fly, bringing out that nice color. I love it.
Thank you.
Wear blue more often because you look amazing. Anyway,
Wow.
that's
Well,
just me giving you.
I'm wearing. Thank you for the compliment. I'm wearing blue because today is a somber day. A man has lost his life, gunned down by an assassin. What say you?
I did not agree with anything that Charlie Kirk said. I think when you please don't interrupt me when I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I think when you spew hate speech towards certain people or words that divide, it's going to anger. Now, is that the way it is? Listen, he had kids, he had a wife. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Same.
He was a family man. Like, let's not do this. But we need to also, if you're gonna, and I'm a liberal, I'm a progressive, and I can understand the pain of that family. I can't even imagine. It's hurtful. It doesn't matter if you're in a car accident. It doesn't matter. But this gentleman had his platform, and he probably had some enemies. Is that an excuse to? I do not condone violence in any sort of way. But to your last few callers, why aren't we getting this same outrage about children
What do you
in
mean?
schools?
Oh, you mean in terms of unaliving?
Their lives. It's hard. I'm really disappointed in my country, men and women at this time. I am really saddened by people choosing violence over protest or working in action to change things, because it's only going to fuel the other side, no matter which side it is.
Do you expect, when you say fuel, do you expect retaliation for what happened today?
No, I just think it's when we have a commander-in-chief.
Thank you, Jax.
When we have a commander oh, what a cute little.
Yeah, that was nice. J at XCN. Thank you.
Thank you. It looks a little bit like me. Anyway, just kidding. When we have a commander-in-chief that is speaking on some people being the enemy, because words matter, Tim. Bruises disappear. And they hurt people, and they sink in, and those are things that you can't unhear. I wish that the attention of Charlie Kirk, and I'm not saying one deserves more than the other. I want equality or equity at this point. The children in the schools today that happened, we never lower a flag for kids. The president has never said, let's do half
If you lower the flag every time a child is unalived by gunfire, you may never raise it up.
We would never raise it.
Right.
And, that for me is like, and they said today on the floor of like thoughts, and they actually acknowledged that silent prayers don't matter.
Did they really?
And, yes, they did. It was like silent prayers are ineffective. I think it was more their words. So thank you for acknowledging that. I wish that they would put that, because I have friends that live in Colorado. I don't know if my friends' children were in the school. I am waiting to.
How many lives are lost in it? Because I've heard nothing about it.
I think two victims, and then also the third one was the shooter.
Yeah.
But it's okay to have.
We used to live in a world where difference of opinion and having decent conversation and opposing, and we could maybe find some common ground, was normalcy. But when you're hearing it from your administration or people in power, it's going to ignite a lot of things. And that is what makes me sad.
But is it not wrong that people on the left are not only ridiculing the loss of this man, but actually celebrating it? I mean, Gangsta Grandma was really happy to hear that this guy lost his life.
That is definitely wrong. There were children that lost their dad. That is never okay.
And you see on the monitor behind me, very young children. I mean, these kids.
I mean, they lost their dad. They may have grown up kind of like Rudy Giuliani's kids grew up to totally be opposition of their father. But losing a parent is never should never be celebrated. And there's different ways for discourse other than taking lives. Yeah. I always tell my kid when he goes outside, don't make a life, don't take a life. That should be.
You said don't make a life, don't take a life, huh?
Don't be getting no girl pregnant. You better take all that shit with you.
Don't make a life, don't. I like that. Well,
I mean, that should be the basic fundamentals, and just, you don't have to agree, but we can still be kind. Now, do I believe that everybody in MAGA is willing to take that stance? No. Do I believe that every liberal or progressive? No, I don't. But when you go home at night and you go to bed and you say your prayers or whatever it is you do, it's just, were you kind today? Did you help somebody? Did you smile? Did you offer help?
I don't think nobody thinks of that anymore.
That's the way I grew up. And it didn't have anything to do with religion. It had to do with just being gracious and showing humanity.
Like listen to these two comments, and I heard you say it, but Scott says no more kindness to the left, and then below him, Darth says fuck him. He's talking about Charlie Kirk. He says fuck him. I don't know why people are wasting time even honoring a propagandist. People really don't like this guy.
I'm not honoring him. I'm not honoring him in any sort of way. I'm thinking about his kids. Okay, Charlie Kirk put all kinds of poison out there into the verse, and words matter, and there's going to be some consequences, as we know. Even Martin Luther King, your last chickens come home to roost. That's a Malcolm X saying after Kennedy was assassinated. So yes, words matter. It doesn't matter what they are.
I brought it up because Obama, when Obama ran for office, they were sitting in his pastor's church because he said, goddamn America and all that. But he was the one also said that the chickens are coming home to roost. That's where I thought about when I heard that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and it is one of those historical speeches that Malcolm X made, and again, and that was just a snippet of what he had said, right? And just like people like to take the best parts of the Republican, the GOP, the MAGA, like to take the best parts of Martin Luther King, but at the end of the day, none of them would be supporting him. Back then. It's a sad.
Wait. So you're saying if America was the same way it was in early 1960s, and you had a civil rights leader like Martin Luther King fighting on behalf of civil rights, you're saying MAGA would not be supporting the movement that Martin Luther King was trying to do?
Fuck no! You and I both know that. Come on.
I gotta ask. I gotta get clarity. That's all I'm doing.
No. And because you and I always talk about it, and you say it on your show. Like, nobody liked him. Nobody liked him until he was gone.
Yeah, that is true.
And I hope, again, Kirk had a wife who loved him, I'm sure, and some children. I don't care who you are and what you do. If my husband was to get, unalived, we would hurt. It doesn't matter what your party affiliation is. It doesn't matter what your religion is. Those people in that his family is going to hurt. Now, I don't wish that upon the family. Again, what I'm saying is his words, which were extremely divisive, brought it to this place.
And I see in the comments someone said that Martin Luther King would be against all modern Democrats. So I guess Martin Luther King would not. Yeah, he wouldn't like Barack Obama, I suppose. But
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he'd actually be very proud.
Yeah. He would be MAGA. Martin Luther King with a MAGA hat on.
And I would like to ask whoever said that comment, what is your affiliate? Are you MAGA? Because obviously you haven't studied Martin to know, because you're being ignorant.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. It's a wild comment to make. But I do got to move it on. But yeah, that's a wild comment. Real quick, go ahead. Give me what you got. Give me what you got.
Wait, hold on. I don't want to dwell on Charlie Kirk. What do you think of Poland today?
They shot down a couple of Russian drones over their airspace. Right now, we can say, because they didn't blow anything up. Sometimes electronics can malfunction. I guess Russia would have plausible deniability. They took off from Belarus, which is an ally of Russia. I suppose Russia could apologize and say a couple of our drones got out of line, but it don't look good.
So we have Israel going into another.
That looks
nation.
worse. That is worse.
Okay, we got Russia going into other countries with drones. And we were afraid that the Democrats are going to bring us into World War III. No, this is okay. Donald Trump, if you're listening to this live,
then I'm the shit if he listening. But go ahead.
Please, in the love of God, have a fucking red line. Grab a spine. Stop being a Russian asset. But when I say that, is I don't even think he knows he's a Russian asset, but he is.
Well, I definitely feel confident.
I don't think he's willfully on the behalf of Putin, but I believe that he is so spineless that he is a Russian asset.
Well, I definitely believe that Russia is doing much better with Trump in office than they would have been with Biden. I think there's a whole lot of Russians that are alive today that would have been dead because Biden would have kept giving the Ukrainians weapons that Trump stopped. So the Ukrainians have not been able to defend themselves or launch missions into Russia that they would have under Biden. So Trump is certainly a better president in the eyes of Russia, in my opinion.
And his deal making, just like any other thing, is failing miserably. I'm actually, for the first time, Tim and you and I are about around the same age. We grew up during the Cold War where the wall was and the wall came down. I have never been more afraid of World War III than I am when I woke up today.
Wow. All right, Arsha, I do got to move it on. Thank you.
I want to know why you don't give me as much time.
I do. I give everybody. I try to give everybody between 10 and 15.
I don't think you like me as much as Dan Cal and Michael and Jeremy and MAGA Reacts. It's okay. I still love you.
Baby, I am madly in love with you. Come on now.
Shut the fuck up. Well, I'm madly in love with you too. You better keep wearing that blue, boy, because damn, you look fine.
Hawaii,
that's my last name.
Hawaii, here I come. Hawaii, here I come. All right. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I'll be over there. I gotta go. Now, you got me blushing as dark as I am. Anyway, looking in the comments. Oh, that was interesting. I like that. I stopped 7 wars, just not the ones I said I would. It's a good way of putting it, Paul, is that Trump is bragging that he stopped a whole bunch of wars, but as you state, not the ones he claimed he would stop. And I agree with what Arsha said, is that we are closer to a major war, world conflict under Trump than we were under Biden. We are closer to that because I think that all of the wars that were going when Trump became president have gotten worse. Now, the wars he's talking about that he has stopped, they weren't really being discussed on the world stage to any significance anyway. I mean, the war going on in the Congo, that ain't gonna really stop a lot of international trade and shipping. Now he claims he stopped the war between India and Pakistan, but that really hadn't taken off to any significant degree. Most of the stuff he's claiming he stopped was not really affecting, world commerce, world trade, and all of that kind of stuff. What's happening in the Ukraine and Russia is a big deal throughout Europe. Obviously, what's happening between the Palestinians and Israel is a big deal throughout the Middle East. And that's because Israel has hit a lot of other nations in the Middle East outside of just simply going into Gaza. They've struck targets in Yemen, Syria. I believe they hit something in Egypt. They just attacked Qatar yesterday. I mean, they've hit a lot of different countries throughout the Middle East. And I'm going to tell you, this is what I did a video on this. If you look at my YouTube channel, I did a long form video on this because I said Trump's global presence is starting to look kind of sloppy. I believe that if we continue following Netanyahu down a rabbit hole, and keep in mind, most of the NATO member states and the UN now view Benjamin Netanyahu as a war criminal, in addition to Vladimir Putin as well, but they're viewing Benjamin Netanyahu as a war criminal. If America keeps backing Israel, whether it is supplying them with intelligence, surveillance, and weapons, or just simply taking it out when nobody else is doing that, and everybody in the Middle East knows that Israel would not have the power it has if it wasn't for the assistance of the United States. I want to just tell you that we keep following Netanyahu, we're going to open ourselves up to another major terror attack. Because at this point, hitting America is just as good as hitting Israel. Because whatever country that Israel's at war at, we are just as much as an enemy as that country. Now you got Trump telling the folks in Hamas that they don't come forward and negotiate and hand over the hostages, they're going to face severe consequences. Now that guy, talking about President Trump, he's the guy that's supposed to negotiate some kind of peace deal between Hamas and Israel. You can't be biased and then be trying to say you're trying to negotiate a deal. America's obviously on the side of Israel. So I'm going to suggest that when it comes to brokering some kind of peace deal between the Palestinians and Israel, America shouldn't be involved in it. We're obviously biased on that. If they come up with a peace deal, and let's say Israel breaks the peace deal, we're not going to punish Israel. But if Hamas breaks the peace deal, we're going to punish Hamas. We're biased. We should not be it should be a neutral third party trying to broker some kind of peace between Hamas, Palestinians, and Israel. America should not be involved in that. We are clearly biased in favor of Israel. So they have a vested interest in not coming to the table and negotiating with someone like Trump. You clearly are favoring the enemy to them. So I don't understand why at this time some other nation hasn't stepped up or America hasn't tried to find another nation, a true independent third party to get out there and do that. But we're not that. We are not that in that case. Somebody said the shooter armed with 6 weapons and absconded at the top of the University of Texas. Oh, you're talking about something different. All right. World War III is around the next corner and it might come around Christmas. I don't know about that fast. Something. I don't know about the way I see it. I believe probably what you'll start seeing next is China encroaching on Taiwan. Because Joe Biden went over to Taiwan and said on the world stage, if China comes in here, they're going to have to deal with America. I don't feel confident Trump would take on China over Taiwan. I think, like I said, just like with Article 5, I don't feel confident that America under Trump would meet its Article 5 obligations if Russia went into Poland. I think Trump would come up with some reason why those countries did something to deserve it, which is exactly what he said about Ukraine, is that he said Ukraine started the war with Russia as well. I can see it more along those lines. And I think those nations know that. So right now, Taiwan is at its most vulnerable. The Ukraine is getting their asses kicked far more than they were under Biden. And of course, Israel is just going apeshit throughout the Middle East. So could it lead to World War III? Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. With China, Russia, North Korea, and what was the other? It was India. With all of them countries meeting up, all of those are nuclear powers. They're all enemies of the United. Well, India's not an enemy, but the other three are enemies. Yeah, it could. It really could at this point. It really could, because we're losing. We played a role in the world's police. We're losing that status at this point. And we're focused on Venezuela? Venezuela is not where this shit's going to start at. There's no way in hell we should be putting this much effort into Venezuela. Even if you took Venezuela completely off the map, completely off the fucking map, it would stop nobody in America from getting high. Nobody in America would have a hard time getting high, even if you took Venezuela completely off the map. So while we're focusing that many assets and attention in that area is crazy. Other than there's clearly something else going on in Venezuela that goes beyond drugs. But that country by itself, no. I'd rather you just simply put those assets on the border and prevent people from coming here, as opposed to going down there to that nation and threatening them with military, with military equipment. Looking in the comments though, why does Israel hide Jewish pedophiles within its border? Ooh. Probably because they don't, look, they got a history of other nations punishing them brutally. Some countries don't hand over their criminals. Some countries do not extradite. His post seemed like a psychopath motivated by adulterous lust after another's wife rather than, I don't know what you're talking about. They're brown people too. They're brown people. Arsha, that's my girl. Let me look into the comments here, tap the screen, get us on up to 120,000. We'll go to Sherbert. Good evening, Sherbert. Welcome to the program. Now, Sherbert, I'm assuming you're devastated at the loss of Charlie Kirk, right?
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Oh my God. You liberals are crazy, man. Come on now. There's somebody that lost their life.
I've only been driven crazy by the shitheads like MAGA Reacts and Trump.
But is it not wrong though to feel some kind of glee about this guy dying? Is that not wrong?
Not really. I mean, maybe a little bit. I do feel bad for the children and the wife.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she was a trad wife, so I'm a little less sad about that.
Like what Arshafine says in the comments, come on guys, we're better than this. Don't celebrate somebody getting murdered.
No, Arshafine, you're better than this. I am generally a good person and an angry motherfucker sometimes.
At least you're being honest.
Brings out so much anger in me.
At least you're being honest. Wow.
I don't lie. I don't like to lie. So when MAGA Reacts comes on here, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. No, I'm going to tell you the truth because I'm not lying. I'm not trying to obfuscate against anyone else's bullshit.
Well, in the comments, his name is White Honky. Really? That's somebody's actual name on YouTube. He says, Democrats are trash. Look at what they said about a man that was killed. Now, I am going to mention George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, what was his name? Trayvon Martin, the assassination attempt on Nancy Pelosi's husband. I said this throughout the live is that I'm not a fan of making any, jokes about Charlie Kirk's losing his life, but I don't believe the right makes for a good complainant because they've done it about so many people on the left. I don't think you're joking about people getting eaten by alligators and shit like that. You just don't make good complainants on this situation, even though I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a point. Now it's gone. Sorry.
Well, what about the notion that it's only words? Nobody should lose their life over words.
Try saying the N-word in a Black Panther meeting, and so it's somebody that looks like me, and then one.
But they don't normally kill you. They may beat the hell out of you. They don't normally kill you, though.
I don't know. It very much depends on your situation, and I truly believe Charlie Kirk was a piece of shit person. He would gang up on teenagers and do nothing but practice his debates and how to circular logic someone into making them look dumb. But every time I've ever seen a debate with Charlie Kirk actually go against people that were well-informed and good debaters, he looked like a child because he wasn't debating children.
Now, I didn't follow him, But I heard he's debated the Young Turks, and I mean, I've heard he's debated educated debaters.
No, he's friends with the Young Turks. There's a difference. They were in the same media landscape, and he was very polite with them during the DNC. He sat down with the Young Turks, and they had a very polite and civil conversation. It was a different side of Charlie Kirk than you see most times. But that doesn't make him a good person. The same way when MAGA Reacts was saying, oh, but he didn't swear. Okay, so somebody who doesn't drink is a moral person?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah. I'm looking at...
just say that, and it'd be okay.
Yeah, I got News Nation on now behind the big screen here, and they're saying that his children were ages 1 and 3, so... They're going to grow up not knowing the father, who brought that. They're not even going to remember this guy.
I mean, again, I feel the worst for the kids, less for the wife. But
why less for the wife? Why less for the wife?
Because she looked at children have no choice, but she looked at all of the very depraving shit that Charlie Kirk would say and beating up on college children. And going, ooh, that's who I want to be married to. I want to be subservient to that guy. I don't feel as bad for her. I mean, he was worth $13 million. She'll get what, $2 million and retire for the rest of her life? She'll be fine.
Yeah, she will be fine. I'm sure they had life insurance and things like that. When you're doing what he's doing, and then again, I don't know, but it probably would be pretty damn hard to get life insurance when you're doing what he's doing. The insurance company might look at your ass got a legitimate chance of dying pretty soon, so they may not want to give you life insurance when you're doing what he does for a living.
Nah, I'm sure he pays enough for it.
No.
Well, if he really was wearing a vest and he always has security with him, I'm sure he did all the things that let him be insurable.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you get with the likes of Elon Musk and all of them folks, they're gonna probably look out for the family anyway.
Fair. I mean, they all look after themselves, where the Democrats generally eat themselves alive.
Yeah.
And so, no, I really didn't like that guy. And so I'm not happy about it, but I'm also not sad at all. Those chickens came home to roost.
Yeah. I would, like I said, I never followed him. I knew what he did. I knew he was known for, beating the shit out of people in debates, young kids. I thought, I didn't know I thought it was college kids. I didn't know it went all the way down to high school kids, but
it's always college kids. Yeah. I call them young kids because 19, 20 is still not very good debaters. And literally all he did was research how to debate kids.
Well, and that's what I've known him for. But when people suggesting that he stated things like he wouldn't want to get on a plane if the pilot was black, some of that hateful stuff, I've never heard him saying that. I've never seen that stuff. But I'm sure it will come out in the upcoming networks like MSNBC and stuff like that. I'm sure they're going to play that stuff now because folks are saying that the left is wrong for, celebrating his death or making fun about it. I'm sure that they're going to start playing some of that hateful shit he was saying on the left.
I mean, you really can't be a provocateur and then get surprised when somebody comes up and punches you in the face, or in this case, a pew-pew.
That's a good comeback. I agree with that. I've said that before with President Trump. I mean, words do have consequences. You have free speech rights, but you don't have the freedom of consequence. If you're saying bad stuff about people, you're going to make people hate you. And if
you can't forget about the crazy people. There's always crazy people. And if you just act like the whole world is the Garden of Eden and, I'm such a good person, I don't drink, I don't swear, that doesn't matter to somebody that's crazy.
Yeah. You don't have to be crazy, though. Somebody's saying awful shit about you. You can turn a pastor into wanting to kick your ass. I mean, if you're just saying bad stuff about people all the time, you're going to eventually hit a trigger point. I mean, you're calling them snowflakes or bragging about liberal tears and shit. You trying to trigger that person. You're trolling them. Eventually, you're going to succeed with one of them eventually.
Well, I'll be laughing, jumping around more, doing backflips when Stephen Miller goes.
What is it going to be like when Trump, who's almost 80 now, what do you think it's going to be like when he decides to go?
I'm going to drink a whole bottle of Rumple Mints, pass out for a couple days.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people don't go to work the next day after Trump passes away. Certainly, if he does, certainly if it happens while he's still in the White House. Now, if it happens when he's 88 or something like that, in his years after he's been president, they're still gonna talk about it. But if he ends up, you're watching TV and they interrupt and tell you that President Trump just had a heart attack or something you might have. Remember when Obama came on TV, walked down the red carpet at the Oval Office and said, "On my orders, we took out bin Laden," and people went in the streets, USA. I actually think that might happen with the left if they were to interrupt news coverage and say that Trump lost his life. I think that they would celebrate that.
Almost guaranteed. The same reason people are not terribly sad about Charlie Kirk will be the exact same reasons for when Trump, finally has a heart attack or whatever it is.
Yeah, and Trump has pissed off a whole lot more people than Charlie Kirk. I mean, you could probably have people in other countries that are going to probably be celebrating what happened, with Trump. I mean, he's pissed off a lot more people.
Trump has actually killed people with, getting rid of cancer research and taking SNAP away and Medicaid away, and he's actually done truly evil things in the name of just owning the libs. So there will be a lot more celebrating on that day, but I'm not trying to dwell on it. I was praying, last weekend or whatever it was, and my prayers did not come true.
You'd also probably had the immigration offices filled with people. The day after Trump is gone, the immigration office, all of a sudden Mexicans and Hispanics are coming out of the shadows and shit. Like, man, it feels good to be able to walk down the street again. We'll probably have a whole lot of stuff, because I know a lot of people don't think J.D. Vance is any better, but I don't see J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. I don't see the cruelty aspect of them as strong as Trump. I don't think they're going to do anything you like because they lean right. Just like George W. Bush didn't do anything the liberals like because he leans right. But the cruelty is a different level. And I don't see the Marco Rubios and the J.D. Vances going, because J.D. Vance got a wife that's a minority. I don't see them doing it from a cruelty aspect.
Yeah. Hey, there's one thing I haven't heard anyone else talk about, is that I remember Charlie Kirk rented 10, 15 buses to drive people down to January 6th.
Damn,
He was literally one of the people that organized it and got it going.
I didn't hear that.
I don't really feel so bad. All those ghost buses, if you remember back in the day, Charlie Kirk was the one that was renting them out.
Did not know that. Like I said, I didn't follow this guy. But like I said, I didn't follow this guy. I mean, I would see him debating people. If he said something that was, because he was much better than the people he was debating. Like you said, they were all younger than him, which is saying a lot that you're only in your 30s and you're debating people that are significantly younger than you. I mean, I didn't see him debating a whole bunch of old men. So, but that's all I've seen of him. I didn't know I knew he leaned right because that's where all the love for him comes from. But I didn't know some of his hardcore far-right positions.
Well, Tim, you should look up the videos that he just did a debate probably a month ago of him down in Cambridge in the UK, where he actually had to debate people that knew what they were talking about, were actually really good debaters. And so if anyone wants to see who he really was, you can see him doing the circular logic and trying to push his agenda of being what is that where men rule everything? Masochist? No, not masochist.
So like a male chauvinist.
Pushing his agenda.
Yeah, like a male chauvinist.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets his ass handed to him in 10 different ways, and almost nobody talked about it, even though it was glorious. And so now that this happened, I just don't feel too bad. I'm not happy about it, but I'm also not sad at all.
So I'm going to ask you what I've been asking everybody else. What are the chances that there will be some type of retaliation from the right?
No, because I'm not scared of Gen X's fat ass and trying to be a proud boy. I will stop him at the tailgate of that U-Haul truck he's going to try and hobble his ass out of.
And I see in the comments, James Harper says, it's ironic that Charlie Kirk said gun deaths are necessary for gun rights. To be a victim of said act, Yeah, I mean, that comment didn't age well for him at all. Within 3 seconds, he was literally losing his life. I mean, that is kind of ironic, but he says not going to give condolences or cheer for it. So he doesn't have any feeling about it any type of way. But that is a great point. Thank you, James, saying that, it's ironic that you would say something like that. And here comes a bullet. Guess what's coming over the crowd? A bullet. There you go. I mean, so it's crazy that happened.
I mean, I really wish we have more 2A laws, but it's never going to happen. They didn't care about the children in all the different schools. They don't care about the people in the churches, and they're not going to care about this. This is just going to be another unfortunate incident.
Yeah,
and
normally
the lawmakers will never change.
Yeah, normally the response after a mass shooting is to protect the gun rights. They don't, they give thoughts and prayers to the victim, and then they run out to strengthen gun rights. So they're, we do make sure we can still get guns now. Give them his condolences and thoughts and prayers, but make sure you go out there tomorrow and vote for the gun rights. I mean, they actually secure the gun rights and kind of just move on from the dead kid.
Hey, 1 second, Tim. MAGA reacts. Shut the fuck up. You got your ass handed to you every time Tim would bring up a counterpoint to your dumb ass. Why are you so goddamn loud in these comments when you never have anything of substance to say? Okay, he was 22 when he started. He's at his beginning, he was still as old as the oldest college students and never got away. I get older, they stay the same age. Yeah, when you're debating children, it gets a little easier, you fucking idiot. God, I hate MAGA reacts.
Justin34, appreciate you being a friend of the program. Thank you, Justin, for the support. All right, well, I don't know how this will turn out. Is it possible that Trump might release a unifying message? We need to all come together. Political violence is wrong. That was diabolical, that laugh was. That was a diabolical laugh. So no chance.
Trump is not a unifier. Trump only unifies the racists.
How will what will his legacy
be? Retarded people like MAGA.
What will Trump's legacy be? If what you're saying is correct, he only unifies races and shit like that. What do you think his legacy is going to be?
Probably dictator if we don't actually get our shit together here.
Wow. That's scary. All right, Sherbert.
It's scary times right now.
Just like Arshafan talked about, us being close to World War III. I mean, listen.
Yeah. Every day we get closer and closer, and everyone's just, oh, no, it doesn't affect me. I don't know those people. Well, when the war comes to our shores, you're going to know those people, and then you're like, oh, I don't know where this happened from. Shut the fuck up. You're the one that's been letting them get away with everything.
I tend to think, considering that America does have a significant amount of military might and atomic weapons, if we took the neutral approach and just let the countries, chop up the world as they may, I don't think they would come here for a long time because we still have a lot to defend ourselves with. Trump's a great negotiator. He might tell Russia, look, you do what you got to do as long as you keep that shit over there. Tell the same thing to China. Whatever you got going on in Asia, just keep that shit in Asia. And I think he would live out the rest of his life with America not being attacked. That's not to say it won't happen 10, 20 years from now, but I don't think that they're not going to want to take on America anytime soon because we have so much defense.
Maybe.
No.
But when
Russia could divide up Europe, China gets Asia, and Netanyahu gets the Middle East. Just leave us alone. You can do whatever the hell you want. Just stay away from over here.
I don't see that as a good thing, but
no, it's terrible. It's terrible, but I don't think they would come and fuck with the United States is what I'm saying.
No, and there's a lot of people that say, well, it doesn't affect me, so
yeah,
let them have it, boss.
There's a lot of people that think that way. That's what America First is about. Sherbert, I got to move it on, though. Thank you.
Have a good night, Tim.
You too. Good talk. Appreciate it. Moving on with the comments. Somebody says, look straight. I can't look straight. I'm going to be cross-eyed as fuck on this because I got 4 different cameras aimed at me. I'm on different platforms. When I'm looking here, I'm cross-eyed over there. When I'm looking here, my eyes are fucked up over here. There's no way I can make my eyes straight on this because there's just too many different angles that offend me. Tim, you are horrendous. Damn, that sounds like what my ex said before she kicked me out. Your daily gym, how am I horrendous? Let me know. What am I doing that's horrendous? Why do we hate each other? He says, why do we hate other cultures so much? Why do we abuse children so much? Why do hurt women hurt so much? Strong questions. Because hurt people who are hurting others have something to gain out of it. Not to mention hurt people hurt other folks. Some people pass the hurt on down, but a lot of the hurt is because other folks are gaining things out of it. You know, why do we hate other cultures so much? Because by hating them and demonizing them, we can get our folks to kind of co-sign us doing bad shit to them. Like, for instance, Venezuela. You know, if we really want to get our hands on Venezuelan oil, then let's just say that they're doing bad shit. Their drugs are coming in and they're ruining American lives and things like that. You'll get more backing from America so that when we go in there to use our military assets on them and then, covertly steal their oil, you'll get a large amount of support from the American people. It's called that's the same thing Hitler did, demonize countries. And then that way, when you go in, your people will be more supportive of it. So a lot of times hate is based on it benefiting those who hate. Like even when African Americans in this country were being hated upon, there was obviously a huge amount of benefit for white culture. Look, I know if I got them being marginalized, if I'm able to marginalize the black community, when it comes to looking for jobs and things like that, I don't have to compete with them. If I want to move to a certain neighborhood, I don't have to want to be around them. I can even kick them out of their own neighborhood and make that mine if I want to. It gives you a lot of power. So there's a lot of benefit to hating folks. Not to mention with women, you can get power over them that men love as well. So a lot of benefit to being able to hate. Somebody says, I think you need to take a look at the Cold War initiative. War is still happening on America. It never ended. You got to give me a better explanation than that. I don't have a way of fixing the backdrop. The speed truck says, please fix your backdrop. So the problem is I don't know how to mirror the screen in YouTube. We're mirrored on TikTok. There's an easy mirror button. They don't put that on YouTube. I'm dying to find it out. I've even written YouTube. I have not been able to find out. People talk about using mirrors and shit, but then I can't read the comments if I do that. So thank you, Kimberly. Really like that you are not one-sided. Depends on who you ask, but I appreciate the comment. Thanks for your input. But yeah, fix your backdrop so we can read the text. And currently, we have to use a mirror to read your background. Please fix it. You're a great host. Now professionalize your background. If I could figure out how to do it, I would do it immediately. Like I said, if I could figure out how to reverse the backgrounds like they do on TikTok, I would do it immediately. Thank you. Your explanation is appreciated. Appreciate that, speed truck. Do you think 9/11 was an inside job? Wow. Damn, you came out of left field with that. It's been 24 years. What, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow will be 24 years ago. Everybody remembers where they were. If you're my age group, you certainly remember where you were on that day. I haven't seen any evidence to suggest it's an inside job. I understand some engineers suggested that the buildings don't pancake on each other like that. Some folks believe that there was some kind of projectile or missile that hit the buildings before or after the planes did. They don't believe that jet fuel can do the damage. I don't know, but I will say after 24 years, I haven't seen enough solid evidence to suggest that it was an inside job. And by the way, if you really want to go into the Middle East, and I just mentioned demonizing and going to Venezuela and things like that. So America's not above it, but damn, they killed 3,000 Americans on the streets of New York just so you can make an excuse to go to war. My God, that's bad. My God, that would be awful. If you could show, I guess, that the Bush administration would do something like that as an excuse to go. Now, I understand a lot of people believe that George W. Bush was trying to avenge an assassination attempt by Saddam Hussein on his father. So some people do believe. I get it. But damn, that would be awful. 3,000 American souls lost just so you could create an excuse? God, that's terrible. Is America above it? No. America's not above doing that. I just have not seen enough evidence to say I believe it happened. I'll leave it at that. I have not seen enough evidence to believe it. Just like Trump still says he won the 2020 election, I have not seen enough evidence to suggest that happened. And I actually do believe Trump was trying to steal the election. I don't know about Bush trying to create a reason like that, costing the death of 3,000 people to go into Iraq. But I'm not going to pretend like America's not above doing that. check out the money that disappeared from the Pentagon before that. Check out asbestos that was in the Twin Towers. I get it. In fact, they've had some documentaries and stuff like that out on it. It's, you know, some things are so awful, so atrocious that you, even if you got the truth in front of your eyes, you just don't want to believe an American would be that evil to do that. It's hard to, George W. Damn. I'll just leave it at that. If I see more evidence, you know, somebody says billions went missing. Yeah, money going missing and going in and killing 3,000 Americans are not the same two things, though. America did false flags more than once. That I do believe. That I do believe. Yes, I absolutely believe that. And like I said, I don't believe America's above doing it, but it's a difference between a false, 3,000 American lives lost. Damn, that would be one of the worst ones ever, would it not? To do something like that and actually cost 3,000 lives of your own people, that would be a pretty bad one. Let me go back to the box. Yeah, that's bad if it happened. I don't, like I said, if I see evidence, just like I say with the 2020 election, if there's ever enough significant evidence to show that Trump won that election, I wouldn't denounce it. But based on what I've seen, it's pretty clear, based on what I've seen, in my opinion, Trump told a lot of lies about the 2020 election. If I see evidence to the contrary, I will give him credit for it. To me, the biggest thing on the 2020 election is simple. Virtually no Republican leader, governors, senators, or congressmen are saying Trump won that election. That, to me, is telling. Why would your own party say that you lost in 2020? There's virtually no Republican senators that were in office at the time, no Republican governors, no Republican, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, she might have said it, but the overwhelming majority of his own party says he lost. Is there anyone that was on Trump's first administration that say he won that 2020 election? So the whole Republican Party is lying against their own candidate? That don't make any sense whatsoever. Well, they were bought out, they're part of the deep state or some crazy shit. Your whole party says you lost. So to me, I don't want to hear about the judges, didn't hear his cases. I don't want to hear about, you know, the 20 million votes that came up. Your whole party says you lost. Even the ones you gave jobs on your administration, your whole party says you lost. That has to be explained before we can talk about anything else. Your whole party says you lost. Your vice president, all of them. That has to be explained before we can talk about any other accusation. And they have not done that. They have not done that. Kirk paid the price for supporting a criminal leader. Damn. I heard Trump a couple times say he lost the 2020 election. He knew he lost, but he hates to lose. And I think that's probably the accurate way of putting it, is that he knew he lost. And I've seen, Aaron, you said 2,000 Mules, the documentary proves, no, it doesn't. And the whole Republican Party stated that 2,000 Mules don't prove shit either. But by the way, we done, I think, about 6 or 7 live streams on 2,000 Mules. I watched that show. I watched that about a dozen times. I've seen 2,000 Mules, took notes, and it don't prove shit. Because Dinesh D'Souza, the creator of 2,000 Mules, made an insane amount of assumptions. I mean, he's showing people walking and stuffing ballots in mailboxes in Georgia. And without seeing what's on the ballots, he just assumed that they're doing it on behalf of Biden. You can't do that. He uses cell phone data to show that people are going by mailboxes, assuming that they're not just driving by the mailbox, they're stopping at the mailbox, they're doing something fraudulent, and they're doing it on behalf of Biden. You can't make a leap like that. Fact is, any way you could have cheated in the 2020 election for Biden, you could have also cheated that same method for Trump. Dinesh D'Souza's mindset is Democrats cheat, Republicans are all honest. You can't make an assumption like that. And now that what we're seeing is happening in Texas, where they're clearly that's not true. Republicans clearly are capable of cheating. What they're doing in Texas right now is flat out cheating. So the idea that, what Dinesh D'Souza said, only way 2,000 Mules looks like a legitimate episode of proof for the 2020 election that went to Trump is that you've already walked into the theater or you watched it at home online like I did, whatever the case may be. You turned that on already believing Trump won. That's the only way that shit makes sense. If you watch 2,000 Mules with an open mind with the mind of somebody that is unbiased. I'm gonna see if this proves it. If it does, I'm gonna give him credit. I'm gonna see if it doesn't. If it doesn't, I'm gonna call him. If you watch it with an open mind, you will clearly realize that doesn't prove shit, because he's making assumption after assumption after assumption. Every method that he finds that he believes is showing corruption, he just automatically assumes without seeing the ballot and what's on it that was cheating for the Democrats. You can't make an assumption like that. Republicans can use all of those same methods and cheat. So you can't assume that they're all for the Democratic Party. Anyway, somebody said, please, Democrats started gerrymandering. That ain't got nothing to do with what's happening in Texas, though. Texas is the first state that's done it, because it's normally every 10 years. Texas did it, I think, in 2021, and now they're doing it again in 2025. No other state has done that. So when people say, well, Democrats do it too. No, the Democrats don't do what they're doing in Texas. So what Texas is doing, not to mention the president is not involved in the state's gerrymandering either. Trump was on TV saying, I think we should get 5 more votes or 5 more seats, so I told him to do it. That ain't something the Democrat Party, show me somewhere where the Democrats gerrymandered an election and the president was telling them to do it. That ain't never happened before. So there's plenty of evidence to suggest that what they're doing in Texas is unique. Hasn't happened before. That's the difference. Every fat liberal woman was stuffing ballots. Yeah, it works if you're going to assume that it works. I mean, what about the fat Republican women? They were doing it too, huh? So, anyway, as Trump says out of his nasty mouth, if you tell somebody something enough times, they'll eventually believe it. Because I say all the time on the program, what happened on January 6th, whether you think it was a love fest, a peaceful protest, or you think it was an outright insurrection, fact is, January 6th was only 2 months and 2 days after the election. The Trump administration was still performing investigations based on Trump's claims. They didn't have any evidence at all to do what they did on January 6th. The investigation into the election was not even over with. There's no reason that close to the election they should have been at the Capitol building on January 6th acting like that. If you had to grab one of those protesters or insurrectionists or whatever you want to call them and ask them, why are you here doing this? They would have said, we're trying to stop the steal. We're trying to stop Joe Biden from stealing an election. If you had to ask one of them, how was Biden stealing the election? They would have had no answer. Or the answer they gave likely could have been responded to with, well, Attorney General Barr is still investigating that claim. Why are you here before the investigation is even concluded? So they had no reason to act that way that close to the election other than Trump told them A happened and they performed based on believing that A took place. That was it. His word was all they needed to go do that. They had no proof whatsoever, and they still don't have proof that Biden was trying to steal the election. They still don't have it, and they did that. James Harper says Republicans are celebrating the thing they swore they would rise up and fight against. They have become the character that we laugh at in the early 90s. Yikes. Well, I think the Republican Party has turned into the MAGA Party, and MAGA is Trump-oriented. So, yeah, you're right. A lot of things that the Republican Party used to favor, small government, for instance. Trump is not a small government person. Getting spending under control. Trump ain't doing none of that stuff. So it's gotten to the point where, as opposed to the traditional Republican principles, it's become we're just going to go with what Trump thinks. I mean, no new wars. He ain't. I mean, a lot of things he even talked about doing. He's kind of changed the stance on that stuff, and they just kind of follow him. And wherever he goes, they're going to go as well. So it's more or less it's the Trump party. Ted Cruz is a weak man to allow another man to insult his wife. Yeah, Kimberly, I cannot disagree. I cannot agree with you more. Cannot agree with you more. For him to post a picture of Melania Trump and Ted Cruz's wife and say, which one would you choose? I mean, that was terrible. Don't know what I hit there, but anyway, we'll keep it moving. I think empathy is made up. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that has done a lot of damage. That's a quote from Charlie Kirk. Really? Damn. Empathy is a made-up New Age term Jesus, that has done a lot of damage. So he is anti-empathy, according to your statement. If that is true, that is bad. But nevertheless, folks, I do got to step away. I don't think anybody should be laughing or taking fun or making fun of this guy losing his life. I just wanted to come on and say that. I didn't mean to be on as long as I was because I got to do something, but I don't think anyone, look, the guy said a lot of controversial shit. There's no denying that apparently, but the idea that he should lose his life based on it, I think I don't want anybody losing their life over words. I would normally end this live by saying, let's come together, but we didn't elect unity. Bringing up Biden bringing up Biden at this point is irrelevant. He's not in office. He's powerless. But we're talking about the president we do have. We did not elect him to be a unifier, and he didn't promise to be one. I mean, he essentially promised to be divisive, and that's what we got now. So we got to make that work, and the only way to make that work is for us to probably find a way to stay away from each other and not kill each other. Other than that, I don't have the answer. And I'm just sitting back like you folks, hoping there will not be future Charlie Kirks within the upcoming months. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Subscribe to the channel if you dare, follow if you will, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. And I gotta step away. I don't know why that does that. But for some reason, when you get